Here we are. Never doubt us. Back for another day here on Racing Post Live. It's glorious. It's Goodwood. It's the Thursday. Apologies for a slight delay there for you gremlins in the studio in the capital. We've actually got the senior producer back on the show today. Hardly Midas, is he? But we are back up and running, and we're going to entertain you throughout the afternoon. That's right, 5 terrestrial races. Your second screen experience here with our sponsors, the Betfair Exchange. Myself, Dave Orton, back. We're approaching the half-time whistle. So much to talk about today. Some great races kicking off with the 150. Who have we got on the panel? Straight away we go down. Getting serious now at the halfway stage. Quizmaster Melrose himself comes back, the betting editor from the Racing Post. How are you, my man?
I'm very well, Dave. I've had a good summer. How was your summer?
Well, yes, the summer seems like it's nearly past, doesn't it? This is a great week to be alive, though, isn't it? Tom Collins, Top Cat, comes back in as well. 10-point Thomas doing the trading today for Betfair. Quiet week so far, TC, for you?
Yeah, quiet week. Haven't really been that interested in punting so far with the ground being soft, but now it's getting a bit quicker. I like a couple of the races today, so hopefully a few winners.
Yeah, absolutely. One man that's been giving us some winners along the way, Barry Orr, joins us, the big hitter. You still there, man?
I certainly am. Getting the trip well, Dave. Good afternoon, all.
Absolutely. There's a small matter of Galway last night, wasn't it? It was the plate. Guess who won it, Barry?
Yeah, good ride. Very good ride from Paul Townend. Yeah, great performance from the winner.
Yeah, big handicap. Looked impossible. Team Mullins takes it out. If you're enjoying Galway as well, let us know your selections. Got the hurdle there later on. I'm sure Keith will love to pick the bones out of that one for you out there. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Facebook Live. We know you're there on the chat. We've been reading some banter already. Get your picks in. We've been having great fun. That's not going to stop. The party continues here on Racing Post Live. Real-time reaction if you're new to the show, of course. Barry will be trading in every single race for charity, showcasing the functionality of that exchange, throwing in some sportsbook as well. And Barry, with the market up for the first, shall we get some business out the way?
Yeah, so Patient Dream was favoured, but is out to 6.8 now. Your new favourite, Alfadal, at 6.2. 6.4, King Frankel, Aryan Power, the luckless Aryan Power, 7.2. 9.6, Tahushk, and Qatar is 9.6 as well. It's a 3-year-old handicap. It looks really wide open. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep it very simple and back Patient Dream in the win market only, because I think he'll either be there or he'll finish nowhere. So he beat Sarvan in Windsor last day over a mile 2. Now he's getting £12 weight for age. Sarvan's a solid rated 84. So the form's not fantastic, but it's just a straightforward win bet for me here, please, Tom. And we're going to back it at 6.8. I'm happy to be a price taker here at 6.8. So if the 6.8 is gone, it'll go over into the late column. We wait for someone to come in and match us. But yeah, 25 quid at 6.8.
Right, thank you, Barry. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a bit surprised he's not favourite, actually, as much as I like Alfadel. I think we can put a line through his Royal Ascot run. He's got the draw, haven't they? He's drawn 2 and 3. We're still basically as we were. The false rail is still out. So the ground is drying out, as TC alluded to. Will it be soft enough for the likes of King Frankel, who's got to bounce back from a poor run? Paul Keeley and the Scissors in the members section, he likes that, doesn't he? Before we go down the tips, I'm glad you're with me today, boys, because I've got happy memories of this day. I really have. This race in particular it means a lot to me. A lot of people will call this, I don't know what we call this, Nassau Day, for example. That's a big group one today, isn't it? For me, it's Junkanoo Day. This is the day where it all clicked into place and people finally gave me a little bit of respect in the world. Shall we have a little look at what exactly happened on this day last year? It was amazing. Absolute flyer in this.
Yeah, you have.
I was getting a little bit excited about this last night. We went downstairs. We were in the studio in London. We had a couple of glasses just to take the edge off slightly. Nothing serious. And I said, look, I think I might have found one here, lads. It's Junkanoo. David Egan and Gary Moore on. I made a case for this quite eloquently, I thought. And I was like, listen, lads, you've got to take the 28. It's all the way out to 80 to 1.
It's 130 and getting bigger the more you talk. You might run into a place, but I don't know.
He's just got 100 to 1. What's going on? No one's listening to me. I tell you what, this has got a right chance, lads. Come on, the Junkanoo. This is in. He's going to possibly be it.
Yeah,
Junkanoo is going for it. Aye, Dave Orton will never get another bet on. Wow, amazing scene. Junkanoo. Who remembers that then? That was a good crack, wasn't it? Look at the colour of the shirt today as well. You aren't catching me off this time, man. Now, have I found one in this? Look. So, I do, look. Mr. Moore, Gary Moore, who trains it, he's got one in it. Guess what? It carries 8 stone. It's got a good draw. It's £7 out the handicap. It's called Pure Bubbles. I can't believe it's as big as it is. Are people not looking at this? Moore has quite clearly plotted this horse out. Now, he's £7 out the handicap, Pure Bubbles. Yes, of course, in memory of my favourite Junkanoo, who's on the sidelines at the moment, Junkanoo, but he'll be back. I'm putting up Pure Bubbles here. I think Alphadel is definitely the one he's got to beat, but this horse should never, ever be as big as he is. What price is Pure Bubbles, Barry, on the exchange, please?
He's 32 at the moment, Dave. Know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have 25 quid on it at Betfair SP for you. If it wins, you can donate it to a charity of your choice. So
Happy days. Thank you very much, Barry. Knows how to play the game. Of course, the charity of this month is the retraining of racehorses, ROR. Very difficult to get that one out. So listen, I'm with Pure Bubbles. If you go back to his Lingfield form, when you, of all people, Keith Melrose, will look at stewards' inquiries, won't you? And you know what it's like. You hover over a comment in running. Do it now in your members section. This nearly broke the book. We haven't got as many characters for what the steward said about the ride that he was given behind a horse called Tambarada, now rated 99. This is a mid-80s horse. He can do it again. What do you like, Keith?
Well, Pure Bubbles is so far out the handicap that I just struggle with that. Like, I do. He has been.
Do a Stevie Donahue to me. Keep it coming.
I tell you what, whoever edited that must have won against Neil Hubbard. That was a terrible edit for Neil.
Bless old Hubbard and his Betfair cupboard.
I mean, I like Tarashok in the race. I think this is you talk about being laid out.
The second colours of Shadwell.
Yeah, the pink hat from Shadwell.
Yeah.
Literally a handicap debutant. Talk about being laid out. The 5 that came clear at Nottingham, he was miles the best of them, and the couple that have come out have been shown to be 85-ish horses. He looked miles better than him. He's been given 86.
Last one's going in, CC. We're a little bit late on today, but get a tip out the way.
King Franco, I'm clinging on to that London Gold Cup.
Man, you are clinging on. Is it going to be soft enough for him?
I think so. Look, I don't think he necessarily needs it really deep. He just needs a tiny bit given the ground. It was dead yesterday. I think King Frank will be well suited by conditions. The money's come. Paul Keeley's put him up. So
Keels has been putting his horse up. This is a cliff horse for him. I mean, I've jumped off it. I've got to be
Isn't
honest.
the soft ground thing a Keeley thing? Isn't that a Keel? Didn't he start that?
He just never looked happy at Ascot, and he might have started.
Never looked happy at Epsom.
Actually, Mark Johnson, who could do with a winner this week. That's unusual. We say that at Goodwood, isn't it? But actually, it was Philip Robinson and the racing manager, of course, saying, this ground probably might be a little bit better for him. So
Mark Johnson had 3 winners in the last 8 years in this race, and he had 5 runners of the 12 in this field.
dare I say he's naught from this week? Has he had one yet? He hasn't, has he?
I don't think he has. So. I mean, Johnson's style isn't to necessarily plot a lot of horses. It is just to throw a lot at. We're expecting the Johnson rivers to flow. Will it be in this race? Good luck then. We're here. It's 150. It is the Junkanoo handicap. Let's see where we get off. Can it happen again? And we're off and running, actually. If anyone was slow to go, it looked like Alphadel. Yeah.
Dingle wasn't great either. He should come over it. Pure Bubbles up in the van under George Rook. Let's just give him a chance. Unsurprisingly, Holly Doyle out in front on a Mark Johnson horse. King Excellency. I'll tell you what, she's going to be kept company, though, by Sam Hitchcock. Sam Hitchcock, there's a name. I'll tell you what, there's some big rides going today at Goodwood because there's a certain racing league happening tonight. So we'll get into all of that, don't worry. They're going a fair old pace, TC, aren't they?
Yeah, in the preview today, I wrote that Mr. Excellency and Namus, who's now on a runner, would take these along, which is why I fancied King Franco, because he doesn't do much, but he stays. They're going quite a clip at this rate, it looks.
King Franco is off the bridle again already. That's what he
This is the
does. But
problem
it's
with
not
him.
about
He's a bit
ground.
lazy, isn't he?
He is just lazy. He's just a lazy horse.
Just call it how it is. Patient Dream in the middle of the pack, Barry. You must be quite happy with that.
Yeah, he's gone favourite in running at 4.6 now. 6.8 King Frankel. First steps halved in price at one stage at the 16 from 32, but he's drifted out again. And Mr. Excellency is 11, but that matches his Betfair SP.
Turning in. Thank you, Barry Orr. OK, let's have a look at Tarashok, where he's got a lovely sit as well, Keith.
Yeah, he's not. Well, yeah, which one is he? Because it's a pink cap.
Yeah,
He's sitting third. He's sitting. Yeah, he's
Alphadel Travels here, the money horse, Roger Veron, who took out the first race with Progressive Nagano last time. Is he too far back? That's the question. TC?
I don't think so. I think he's in a perfect position. He's making a big move on the outside, followed through by King Frankel. They'll be the 2 I'll be focusing on right now, as well as Carter maybe in behind.
There's going to be no Junkanoo moment, unfortunately. Lightning will not strike twice because it looks like Pure Bubbles is being scrubbed along all the way. Not for him today. Come on then, Alphadel. This is the other pick down the outside.
Patient Dream.
Patient dream for Barry as well. King Frankel looks like he's absolutely gone at the game, doesn't he? Is this Forest Falcon as well for Johnson? You wouldn't want to be eyeballing him, would you?
Does Qatar stay? Does Qatar get home?
Well, we will see. I mean, OK, here we go. Who's this in the black cap as well? Carter as well.
Qatar in front.
It's a shad. I'll tell you what, Alfredel's got there too soon, I think, isn't he? Because he's absolutely
everywhere,
empty.
Qatar.
This is where the black cap
holding
comes
on.
Arian Powell looks like...
won.
I don't know, is he idled a bit there, Alfredel? We'll pick the bones out of this. This is one for Shadwell, perhaps not the one you're expecting. And it is a Johnson horse. His fourth turn in the race. You cannot keep a good yard down. Absolutely powered clear. What's he been doing in handicaps? He is a previous course winner, however. William Buick does the steering. Outstayed them, Keith?
I wouldn't have thought so. I thought stamina was the issue for this horse today. Remember, this horse was second in the Coventry last year. He was an early 2-year-old last year. I was speaking to a friend this morning who actually quite fancied this horse, but I just couldn't have had him staying. So to think he's outstayed them is something I would, instinctively reject. But he might have done. I mean, I think he's just kicked on at the right time and kept going.
It's a Johnson thing then. And we said he was naught from the first 2 days. Could now the floodgates open? Let us know if you've got any big Johnson picks. Were you on Carder? Were you on one of our picks? Barry Orr, I'm imagining from 2 furlongs out it was a lively exchange.
Yeah, the winner had a Betfair SP of 11. The runner-up, Alfredel, hit a low of evens in running. The runner-up, Arian Power, hit a low of 1.73. Alfredel evens for 411 quid. Arian Power hit a low of 1.73 for just 26 quid. But yeah, it was lively enough, I suppose, when you take that into account. Patient Dream hit a low in running of 262. Would you believe that? 262. He never looked like a 262 chance to me.
I'm not surprised. I thought he travelled like he was, if you stop at two out, I thought he might have been as likely as anything.
The way Nagano won the first race yesterday, TC, you expected Alfredel to hang on, didn't you? Has he got there too soon to make up a lot of ground, or has he just had a good look around?
I just thought he had a look around. I don't think he was the best horse in the race anyway. My eye was drawn to Carter from 3 furlongs out. He's making that little weaving run through. William Buick found the gaps at the right time. It was a question, as Keith said in running, about whether he'd stay. His pedigree doesn't suggest that a mile 2 is going to be right for him. I don't think Arian Power stayed at all. I don't know if he finished second.
This is the horse that really ought to have won last time, wasn't it, Arian Power?
He was given that race, and obviously Mark Crean misjudged the winning post. But
£4 he got for that as well. Do you think that's a little bit harsh, was it? Or was that just...
No, he should have won, and he should have won well.
But how would he sit with this, viewers? You know what I mean? When a horse has been... I just felt for the horse a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because you have to say that without that £4 on his back, he's going to get...
This is what we always come down to. Handicapping is not a justice system.
I know. But come on, we've got to be... This is 2021, man. Everything's changing. Even your opinions can change.
Oh yeah, they change with the fact. Oh, of course they can, but we shouldn't be going to change what handicapping is meant to be.
Handicapping's not a justice system. And guess who's back? The quizmaster himself to join the party.
Carter made his move exactly the same.
Yeah, he's got to be inside there, hasn't he? Which it's bold around Goodwood normally.
Yeah, and actually, you're looking at Carter now.
Arian Power's gone. He's made a big move. That's maybe what's caught him out. He's made a massive... He's made the move at the same time as the winner, really.
Yeah.
It's just SDS, wasn't it? Charging for the inside.
Yeah.
What do we make of the ground visually? The time will be ever so important for us here.
What to remember today is there is a reasonably stiff head/crosswind up the straight, so the times may be slower than the ground is. I would make an allowance for that.
Is that going to affect us as the week goes on? Because again, it's a bit of an unsettled forecast, isn't it? We're not totally sure. Again, look, it's supposed to have been chundering down at times, and it hasn't.
My suspicion is, with the amount of rain that's forecast to come, it won't get any worse than what it is now. You know, there's a lot.
What is it visually to you? What they said on the tin? Because it has been upgraded today to good to soft all over. We started on heavy, man.
I know. Well, the King George was run on firm, basically. Yeah. And then 3 days later, the first day of Goodwood, and it was heavy.
Localised flooding is a bit of a weird...
Well, Sandown was off last night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
One of my naps of the whole season. Vino Victrix was running last night, and the race after it all got called off. I backed him at the early prices, and he was backed right in, and it was gone. The race was abandoned.
Lots of non-runners, haven't we, this week, of course. Not quite so many today. And going forward. So tomorrow, Golden Mile Day, Batash Day. Cannot wait. All still to come. Who's with him? Myself and Barry have been musing all week. Slightly surprised he's as big as he is. Good a race as it is. We'll get Tom and Keith's picks about that. We'll talk about, of course, the Stewards' Cup. Who endured the... I don't want to call it the bore draw, but who endured the draw? It's one of my bugbears. Should we liven up these draws?
Is the only positivity for them all the negativity they generate?
It's just like I'd rather go to the dentist.
They do draws in America for the Kentucky Derby and whatnot, and they're really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. How are they interesting?
Because the presenter, Nick Lutt, Brittany Urton, whatever, they'll stand there. They'll
There's
give
nothing
you
on the presenting teams, by the way. I'm
they'll give you information about the horse. There's good graphics.
We just need to rethink this, don't we? I mean, some people like. I spoke to some people about this, on some feature shows we were doing. They're like, I don't want to see any of it. Just do the draw. As soon as I'm excited for when I see my number and the horse. I don't, all these people on the phones and what I mean, all this sort of thing. It became a tombola, wasn't it, at one point? It's like, come on, man.
Arguably, if you're being extremely hard-nosed about it, should watch the first few that come out the hat to see where they want to go.
Yes, and everyone was pulling out high, right?
Everybody wanted to go high in the early races there.
Yeah.
And in early draws. So the suspicion, that's. Whether it's the right place to be or not, I don't know, but it suggests that everybody thinks it's the right place to be.
It is one of the best sprint handicaps of the year, of course, Barry. It's the Stewards Cup. The first thing to say was First Folio was Antipode's favourite with most bookmakers. Guess what? He missed the cut by 1. He's now Fav, drawn 6 in the consolation race.
Yeah, he goes for the consolation. He's a big chance, hasn't he? He's an improving type, last time out winner. In terms of the draw, I don't know. I think it's just an air filler sometimes, and it's just for sponsors really as well, just give them a little bit of extra publicity, but I don't think there's much in it really.
Give Barry his due. I don't think Betfair sponsor any draw races when they do this sort of
Maybe
thing.
this is what we need to do.
Well, we could do it with the Spring Cup, but we've always turned down the option.
There you go. We're finally unanimous about something today, because I have to say, we looked at all the picks that we've got for you coming out today, some stronger than others. There was a range of opinions going around. Shall we move on to the Richmond then? That was the opening handicap. The Junkanoo bubble has burst. Pure Bubble's never even turned up, did he? Absolutely, blown from a mile out. But Carter, you can see there. That's where the value is, guys, on the exchange. You know that. We're going to throw some sportsbook in for you today. Barry's actually got a multiple that he wants to put on for you today. That won't start until the next race, though, Barry, right? We'll just tease that one a little bit.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, or we can place it now, whatever suits you. You just make the call on that day. But in this race,
let's go for it.
Oh, you want to do it, right? Okay.
Let's get it out. Come on, let's do it.
Yes, what we're going to do is we're going to do a Trixie. And we're going to pick 3 horses, and they're 3 Ryan Moore rides. He gives them a really big shout on his blog on Betfair. And I am inclined to agree with him. Wordsworth in the 3 o'clock. So that's the first leg of the Trixie. Obviously, Group 1 place in his last 2 runs. And it's been a little bit of a drifter. They've come for 3rd round there. But I'm happy to be with Wordsworth in the Gordon Stakes. And then in the Nassau at 3:35, Joan of Arc. Now, they've really come for her. She's 15 to 8 or thereabouts from 5 to 2. And the initial favourite at Dara has gone the other way. So that's the second leg, the middle leg. And then the last leg of 4:10 is Adjuvant in the Nursery. It's a horse really, really going in the right direction. I think he'll carry that weight, no bother at all. Really impressed with him on his 2 runs. So, that's the treble. We're going to do a Trixie, which is obviously it's doubles and trebles, 3 doubles and 1 treble. We're going to do it for £10, please. So that's going to cost us 40 quid. It's 4 bets, 3 doubles and 1 treble. Going to cost us 40 quid. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets on. But sometimes on a day like today where it's difficult, a Trixie can keep you out of trouble. I really enjoy an each-way Trixie myself, but none of these are really each-way prices. So just a straight Trixie, and we'll see how we get on with the first leg, Wordsworth.
That's a first for the show. It is a first for the show. The Trixie gone down, and he's absolutely right. Masterfully explained, Barry, as well for the newcomers out there. It can keep your interest going when you don't want to get involved. Obviously, we advocate safe gambling here. This is a long week, isn't it?
Really, I've got a sort of fond associations with a Trixie. Trixie was always my dad's bet. It was always a 50p, but he never ever called it a Trixie. It was always 3 50p doubles and a 50p treble.
This is where you've got it from.
Well, yeah, it was always very long.
Was he very good at quizzes as well? Was he the master of the quiz?
He's above average. He wouldn't be chopping it off.
Oh, you can imagine what that family's like. Can't you? Cutthroat, isn't it? It's like Frankel and Galileo, isn't it? Moving all off.
Well, that is a little bit, because Frankel was much better than Galileo.
Let's not go there. Oh, sacrilegious, some would say. Oh, no, unbelievable. Let's keep this energy up. So, yeah, you love a Trixie. That looks rock solid, doesn't it?
I don't love a Trixie particularly. I have them.
Oh, you just got a nice affiliation with a Trixie.
Yes. I just got, it's like.
But Melrose. Oh, you're really rubbing your dad's nose in it. You won't place them.
Well, yeah, because I think if I fancy 3 horses, the only sort of thing with a Trixie that relative to what's a patent, which is the same with singles, is if you really fancy those horses and one wins, you get nothing back. So if I really fancy 3 horses, I'm going to make sure I would do a patent instead in a lot of cases.
I'm with Barry, TC. I like to, on a quiet day, just for a bit of interest. It also keeps you out of a bit of trouble, doesn't it? Okay, that'll do me. I think it's quite a nice way of putting a buffer up there. Trixie man, or?
Not really a combination bet man myself, more singles.
Surprises me from the US angle.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the early prices, what prices I can get. Some firms are much better than others, but mainly a singles man myself.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, one man who isn't is Bobby Kimber, who opens up the viewer interaction on the show. Bobby, welcome along. Oh, God, I already put that Trixie on, that exact Trixie, Bob. Wow, unbelievable this morning. Great to hear you're all with me on this adventure. Okay, let's build up the Trixie. Joan of Arc, just a quick word for that, babe, in the Group 1s. The Group 1s have been sizzling, both of them so far. Alcohol free was great yesterday, wasn't she? Trushan, obviously, looking back on it, hindsight's a great thing, but with Strad out, it's knocking better odds against, wasn't it? But I think that Joan of Arc looks like one of their bets. Do you know what I mean by that? The first inverted commas of the show.
Oh yeah. Where does their money go down?
It's tiddlywinks, as I've told you before.
That's an excellent
it's all just you like that one.
It was Stouty said that,
It was
wasn't
Stouty that said that, yeah, it's just tiddlywinks to them. But they do like to have a go at something. This flag goes off in Dave Orton's head. When
she's the one, she could be quite good.
What was the winner of the Chesham? Points of
Point Lonsdale.
Point Lonsdale, thank you, TC. That was one of their bets. That's the sort of horse that
Remember when Lope Fernandez was one of their bets? And he got beat by Pinatubo.
Let's even it back up. You're right, I was there that day.
They were on St Mark's Basilica as well, weren't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that was right, because he was, and you knew he was their best horse all along, didn't you?
Right, we're all up to speed then. Okay, there's a Trixie been placed. I remind you that through the day, but basically it's a Ryan Moore Trixie. And of course, Betfair Ambassador does the blog. Read that. It's pretty bullish. And let's face it, he's just absolutely mustard again at the moment, Ryan, isn't he? Of course, he's got a fancied runner in the Golden Mile. He's got an unbelievable record in the Golden Mile, where you've usually got to be low. Get your picks in for that. Just some housekeeping before we go to the next race, the Richmond Stakes. The first race, it's Rob Lee for this. Pivotal. Slow, this is interesting, by 3.19 seconds. That looks like it's livening up a little bit.
Yeah.
It went an honest pace, can we say that?
I think by eye, yes, and I saw a couple of furlong sectionals flash up on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's good to soft ground there with that headwind we've mentioned already. Yeah, I'm assuming it's that. So it's not, you don't want to be on mudlarks anymore. I keep saying that I'm not a massive ground punter, and good to soft's in the buffer where I wouldn't really care. When you get to extremes, you've got to care. And on Tuesday, it was basically extreme. At Ascot on Saturday, it was bordering on extreme. Whereas just now, I'm happy enough to say that ground is in the buffer zone, where talk amongst yourselves, lad, because it's not really bothered. If I fancy one, the ground's not really putting me off.
There was a fillies handicap yesterday over a mile, 2 furlongs, the same trip, and it was 7.5 seconds slow. So obviously, different kind of race, fillies against colts and whatnot. It was a race won by Achilles or Achelois. Jess Stafford, who
first dodgy pronunciation today. Don't worry, there's loads this week.
Jess Stafford told me off for a pronunciation of this horse. I can't even remember what the right pronunciation was.
The Thurlow, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the thoroughbred horse. But it looks like it's livening up out there.
Got told off, did you, bro?
I did, yeah. Apparently it's after a Greek goddess, but... Yeah.
There's a social on screen for Keith. Stephen Hughes. He loves a multiple bet to Stephen. I'm at Goodwood tomorrow. Does Keith... Oh, here we go. You've obviously been spouting off all over the place about this, have you?
Yeah, I mentioned this first, and I hate doing this, but I was on the race...
Smart champion, right? Let's get this out of the way.
Smart champion, yeah. So I was on the Racing Postcast last Friday. We did it, and I was asked for a bet for Goodwood, and I thought, I don't really fancy much in the group races, but there's a horse that David Simcox has been laid out for this 2.5 mile handicap. And it's Smart Champion. And we'd been watching, me and Graham Rodway, who's been on the show this week, we are handicapping the stayers this year. And we've been saying since...
So he keeps telling us.
Yeah, I know. We've been on since... And in June, we said, this Smart Champion, this has been laid out for the 2.5 mile race back at Goodwood. And it running the race last year, finished a length third to Just Hubert. And it's now £6 lower. And it's carrying 8 stone 2 because it's snuck in right at the bottom, 20 of 20. Callum Shepherd, who's been riding the horse, can't do 8.2, I don't think. His lowest riding weight in the last 12 months is 8.6. So they've said to Safi Osborne, can you do 8 stone 2, Safi? She says, I can do 7.10 if you want. And well, she's doing 7-11 because of her £5 claim. She's actually very good for £5, Safi Osborne, and I'm seeing that as more or less free weight. This horse is, I mean, I've backed this horse at 14 anti-post.
You are seeing this big, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of his run at Newmarket? Because we were in here, Dave, last time with Paul Keeley a couple of weeks ago.
Is this the horse that just always gets given too much to do? Probably in this race a couple of times as well.
Yeah, he's been getting given too much to do recently because, you know...
Suggesting that Safi will actually go for glory here.
Well, he's going for glory here in this race because his season's been all about this race.
Right.
So yes, I do fancy that horse. I do fancy him quite strongly. I mean, I'm on at 14s
This would
and
be
18s.
nap of the week time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's my strongest fancy of the week.
Yeah,
This
nap
horse is,
then.
Yeah, nap. Nap's your best bet. That's what he is. There's likely our winners that I fancy, but yeah, he's my nap of the week in a lot of ways.
Lovely, Stephen. Hopefully that has answered you. That opens up the card tomorrow, I think, doesn't it?
It
You're
does.
back in tomorrow as well.
I'm back in tomorrow.
We're going to get to go on this journey.
I'll be out the chair if that wins, I think.
I think we must tell Bruce Millington, who joins us as well, because if we get on one that he
Bruce-
doesn't know about.
Bruce was the first man to know.
So you're covered. You are covered. All right, back to the 225. That's a couple of the long range. Love this, guys. Keep it coming. Absolutely fantastic. Hugh Masson, welcome back, Hugh. Gubbus to emulate his sire and pick up the dub in the Richmond. Pick up the dub.
W, mate. Come on, Dave.
Pick up the W.
W, yeah, like W and
Dub.
Yeah.
I've never
He's
felt...
going like TC. TC was like, I know.
It's a dub, yeah. Americanism.
I've never heard that. Pick up the dub.
Yeah, exactly. You
All
got to
right,
start
okay.
using that.
It's like...
Hugh, I like it.
It's like Achilles in the tortoise. You know, you feel that you've caught up. I thought take the L. I'm up to speed with take the L, as in take the loss.
I've only just
And I
worked
thought,
out
I'm
what
re- I'm up to
goats
date
means,
now.
by the way. Greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Do you know, I used to see Messi walk around with a goat thing and just be like, that's a bit disparaging with him, isn't it?
Well, if you followed like...
I'm not down with that.
You followed tennis 10 years ago, you heard it as well, because I've been talking about that with those...
Tiger, all that sort of stuff. He was a goat.
They talked about him relative to Nicholas and all that sort of stuff. And
I see, though. All right, so the dub. All right, so Gubbers.
The dub.
All right, Spotlight. We give you the free premium content. Getting these arrows right in a minute. Asymmetric. Barry, more importantly, who's your trade?
Yeah, I thought this was a really, really difficult race now. Asymmetric, the real big grifter on the exchange, out to 130 now, 4.3. Ebro River, who looks a very, very tricky horse indeed. He's a very difficult ride, and I couldn't trust him. He's 5.1. 5.3, Gubbas, the super sprint winner. Katura, the only winner to have come out of the Coventry so far, is 8.6. Gives us some really good money for that, was 16, and bigger in places is into 9.0 on the exchange now. Perfect Power, who when we first went up with this race, at the 48-hour stage, was a 5-2 favourite. That's out to 8.8, so it looks like the market's saying the ground's gone for that. But I'm just going to chance Katura. I didn't think the Coventry was a great race, but I thought Berkshire Shadow didn't let the form down. Now, subsequently, obviously, the second, third, fourth, and fifth have all got beaten since, but I thought Berkshire Shadow ran well the other day without winning, finished second, carry a penalty, gave £3 to the winner. I didn't think that was a bad run at all. And Katura won gamely last time out in Newbury. So I'm going to chance Katura. What we're going to do, though, Tom, we're just going to back it place only. We're going to back it in the 3 place, which is an additional place here. In the standard place terms, it's only 2, but we're going to back it 3 places, and it's currently trading around 11 to 8. So we're going to look to back it at 2.4. 2.50, 2.46 around the 6 to 4 mark. Currently trading at 11 to 8, but I want to back it at 6 to 4. So we'll set our own odds here and look to back it at 2.4, say 2.46. We want to have 25 quid on it at 2.46.
Lovely.
To finish in the first 3, yeah.
It'd be unusual for Adam Kirby and Clive Cox to go the week without success, and this is absolutely their sort of race. It's the Richmond then. Horses that might have on their agenda middle parks and stuff later on. The best 6-furlong horses around, really.
Well, I remember when this race used to be, it sort of got seen as a bit of a Guineas trial, didn't it, for a while? And then it ceased to be that. It's now sprinters that win this race, isn't it? Usually,
Commonwealth Cup had a bit to do that.
Middle Park. It's basically a Middle Park trial.
It is, yeah. Horses now that win this race get Middle Park and Commonwealth Cup quotes, don't they now? Whereas they used to get Guineas quotes. So it is for fast horses nowadays. The vintage stakes is the Guineas trial now, isn't it, at Goodwood?
Yes, of course, it's already been run. Indeed, of course, which Berkshire Shadow was in. Just a quick note about the first race and the winner, Qatar. He's in tomorrow, isn't he?
Golden Mile.
He's in the Golden Mile. Guess where he's drawn? Have you seen?
No, I have not.
7.
Is that,
Got to run, haven't they?
is that the good
£3
stall,
penalty
is it?
you'll pick up.
Is it just a £3 for him?
£3.
Well, Johnson.
What's he going to get for that?
If anybody, yeah, you get more than 3. Yeah. But also, it's a valuable handicap. Johnson follows the money more. You know, he gets
77 grand to the winner.
He gets, people try to read the runes with Johnson a bit. What he definitely does is he follows the money, and this is a very valuable handicap at a meeting he absolutely loves. He'll run him.
He's got Maydani in there as well. for the same owner.
Who's been pulled out this week on account of the ground
Yeah, in the
already.
first
Yeah, I thought that was he's in 5. So
He's-
all of a sudden, Shadwell and Mark Johnson are holding
No,
a
the
massive hand.
ground's come for him as well, mate.
He's the latest. He's another one.
I have to
attraction
say,
for
I
you.
thought that was a great scratch, actually, Maidani. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
that in the Golden Mile. I thought, you jammy. I thought, absolutely superb. Look, you've got to be low. Why? Because the false rail's taken away, isn't it? We go back to basic. And it is like a chicane bend, isn't it? You've got to be low traditionally, haven't you? On fast ground, it's imperative.
Well, yes, but if you go too low, and you can get held up on that.
Oh, you
rail
can.
and, it's an absolute mess of a race. You play it because it's great fun, but I wouldn't ever nap a horse in that race because it's just you'll find horses that have Wasn't there a horse one year in that not too long ago that had about a stone in hand but didn't win?
Probably. It's very hard to think off the top of my head who it was. It's a race that I've always had an association with, actually, the Golden Mile. And
Yeah, I can't think of the Golden Mile without thinking Dave
I
Orton.
had a trifecta in it one year. Do you know what I mean? It just went low and it just was born out. You know what I mean? So I love it. Franklin D was a horse that you said. What was the Gredley horse?
Yeah, it was.
It was Franklin D.
It was a
One
hard
more
luck.
great record in the race.
It does indeed, yeah. It was a hard luck story with Franklin D because I'd backed him at Sandown the time before quite heavily. And he did well. Better than giving it the Bertie Big Bollocks there and talking about the time you had the trifecta.
We've already got that out of the way. There's already been a Bertie B come out, like the big dub. All right, let's move away from the Golden Mile then. If you got a pick in that, did you have an anti-post pick, for example, that's been drawn out in the car park? Have you got one that's going your way? This should be a race we can cut in half from the draw. Without throwing you a curveball, Barry, intentionally, Carder, I assume the Sportsbook's got a market on that, has it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. He's a 16 to 1 chance at the moment for the
Wow.
Golden Mile. Lad's just a bit, it's a funny one whether he'll run or not. I think we're waiting to see quotes.
Okay.
But if they cut him and, potentially there could implications for a Rule 4 there, and who knows. So 16 to
course.
1, they're holding that price at the moment.
Fair enough. Yes, absolutely. So, I don't know, a lot of people will be drawn to that.
I couldn't back a horse coming back after a day, the next day.
That's an interesting
That's a man that's ever bet at Perth.
Yeah, you will, yeah.
Well, Galway,
Galway.
Goodwood, Galway. Actually, do you know what, Barry? This is something
First
that...
one there 3 times in 1 week.
There you are. Who's got the record? It was done recently,
was it
wasn't
one
It was
Cool
him
Poet.
3 times.
One
wasn't
Cool
it?
Poet.
One of
Yeah.
Smith's horses.
Yeah, one cool poet, that's it.
Matthew Smith. Yeah,
Matt Smith,
absolutely.
yeah.
He's known for. You get certain trainers that I love Galway.
It takes so much out of a horse, though. I know he's just won easily, but imagine, for example, in the triathlon in the Olympics, when Christian Blumenfeld won, the Norwegian, he was trundling after the line, and then imagine if he came out in the triathlon the next day.
Thankfully, I saw that. Otherwise, I'd have no idea what he was talking about. This is the guy that went for it, wasn't it? A mile out, was grunting and
If
all
you
that
win a
sort of
race,
stuff.
no matter how easy, it's going to take something out of you. And even if I think the
Sounds like
horse,
a Bond villain, doesn't he?
I heard a good thing when we talked about going really hard to win a race, but the point was made to me quite a few years ago, and I remember it, was that often the winner has the easiest race.
but still, the horses that is against the next day hasn't been running.
And I've
yeah,
counted
absolutely.
TC. Maybe
I
he's
would
been trained for it. Look, I know what you mean. If you see a 1 next to a horse on the break, it does.
You don't know. It's another
really know.
doubt, isn't it?
Sprinters can often do it, can't
Yeah,
they?
and because they take a little bit less out of themselves in
exactly.
racing. They basically race themselves fit a lot of the time, these sprinters.
Here's something I want to do, guys, because we're going to talk a little bit. We've got a lot of time in between races, and this is where we can have some fun, like we've been having previous 2 days. Matty Batcham Posty yesterday, of course, and Mr. Millman and Mr. Rodway on the first day. We've been going all over the place. People have been loving out there. Great feedback we're having. Our social team's been loving it as well, clipping them all up for you. What do you think of Goodwood? That's going to. We won't do it now because we're coming up to the Richmond. But we've all got our own opinions on Goodwood, right? Not just Barry will have an opinion on Galway. You've got a very certain opinion on it, TC. And what is your Marmite track? Or what is the track you just can't get one over the line at? Do you have a stigma track, perhaps? That's what you call it. Let us know out there. What's your favourite track for, where it all goes right? I mean, some people can't stand Windsor. I love going to Windsor. I can just see them. I see the winners there. For some reason, and people come, no, not going to Windsor. Southwell might be one, mightn't it? The all-weather track, all that sort of thing. Again, love it. But I don't know, maybe I'd go against the grain. I don't mind Qatar. Some people can't stand that because they call it like a gaff track. Brighton, things like that. Is Goodwood one of the premier winner tracks? You would counter no because...
Well, Goodwood just about is my bogey track, to be honest.
Yes.
And, the racing's great, and I have had some results there, but I'll just rein my staking back very slightly at Goodwood because I know it's a track that doesn't suit me, and you get very funny results for me, especially when the ground's quite testing. So it is one of my sort of more of a bogey track. I like Catrick, because you know the sort of horse that's going to suit, especially because it is a course that has a lot of low-grade races. So when you've got a low-grade course that suits speed, You know, that's not a combination of horses you come across too often. So you find horses that suit Catrick.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, the switchback tracks, things like York would be my premier track, which I find infuriating.
Really?
Yeah, I went up for the last Dante meeting, 2019. I was near, I think I won. I was there for nearly all the week. It was when, oh God, what's the red herring horse of all time? Mum's Tipple won.
Oh, yeah.
About the second day, it was just one of those, you know, like back Constantinople to beat Logician. Terrible. Anyway, York is my big track. Let us know out there. We'll rate your bogey tracks if you like. Galway would be yours, TC.
Yeah, I can't get a winner at Galway. I understand why everyone likes.
What an infuriating track to try and get one over the line.
I know. Loads of horses laid out. I understand that people, especially
draw on the
would love
inside.
it,
You need the draw and that kick to go up at the finish.
You never know quite how stiff it is. It's a proper stiff finish, Barry, isn't it, Galway?
It certainly is, yeah. It's a fair climb from the last fence or hurdle up that hill, and it takes a bit of getting, especially if you're anyway running on empty, if the light's flickering. Yeah, it can be a very long run in if you're on one in front. But I'm not that superstitious, really. I suppose it's just you've only yourself to blame sometimes. But there is one track that, you know, is really unlucky for me is Downpatrick. The last fence in Downpatrick. God, I've had some bad beats there over the years. Yeah,
one of the strangest tracks to visit, I found. I went over there a couple of years ago.
Isn't it?
It's an absolute mad place to go, Barry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It's a grand spot now, don't get me wrong. And the town itself is grand, but yeah, it's just, you know, the way some places just stick in your mind as being unlucky for you, and that's one for me. Yeah, but it's up there, down Dale and across Glen.
If you took an Australian or an American to Downpatrick and said,
can you imagine?
they have got their own national here, you know, that sort of thing, they'd be like, what?
I think Downpatrick's a track where a friend of mine was telling me a story. It was so tight and so narrow all the way round. There was a 2-year-old run there on the flat, very, very green one year. And he went so wide on the last bend, he ended up jumping the last fence.
The last fence at Downpatrick.
We know flat racing there.
I was going to say.
Flat racing there.
This was a long time ago. No, this is a long time ago.
Have they ever had flat racing at Downpatrick? I wouldn't surprise me if they hadn't.
Anyway. I
Well,
can't remember.
You're a young whippersnapper, Barry. We know that. So listen, that's it. Get in your stigma tracks, which was unlucky for you. Which are the big ones? We might have some surprises out there. Would like to tease that. Right, I'm being told we must get the selections in. We know that Barry is going for Katura, Team Cox and Kirby. Asymmetric for me. I think this is one that was a bit unlucky not to win at Goodwood. Alan King has already taken out the Goodwood Cup, of course, Group 1, his first one on a Group 1. We need to check that, don't we? But that's what
we're pretty well. That's what the headline said in the Racing Post site. So I'm taking that as read.
I think that was actually Kingy that came up with that. So he created his own headliner. We shan't take the blame if it's wrong.
But he's been, I mean, you'll speak to King more than I will, but he does, you know, when he talked to him about his flat jumps sort of duality, he does mention that he'd never had a Group 1 winner on the flat. He was really keen to get that big winner so that he could finally be seen as this dual. He didn't feel like a dual purpose trainer. I always got the impression.
He always has been one of the great dual purpose trainers.
He has, but I got the impression that he didn't think of himself as true dual purpose because he's had so many, he's had Stayers Hurdle winners, he's had all the Hennessy winners in the old day. You know, he's had all these good horses on the jumps, but had never matched that on the flat. He was very good on the flat, but without having the big winners. And I think he had it in his head to get that Group 1, and now he's got it.
Well, this chap, he says he's the best 2-year-old he's ever had. So we're going up. The stock is going up in level, if you like. Now got a Group 1 horse. Could this be a Group 1 sprinter? Could this be a Middle Park horse? He was a little bit unlucky not to win against Lusail in the July. And he has handled soft ground. He thinks this is a better horse on better ground. The more drying out, the better for him. He's in 7, so if he gets a rail run, this chap's going to go close. He's of course distance with a TC as well. You like him?
Yeah, you've basically made the case for Asymmetric. I thought it was very unlucky against Lusail. Made a bold bid and just got repassed by the Al-Shakab owned runner.
The sale.
Yeah, and previously when he beat Mojo Maker, who's got a good form at this track, I think that's a very good pointer. Course and distance form at Goodwood is something that will be high up in my list of wants when I'm ticking these boxes, especially for 2-year-old races. There was another winner back in the field, South Audley, who's running later today as well in that race.
Okay.
And just looking at the rest of the runners in this field, nothing really caught my eye. I don't like Ebro River. He doesn't want to go forward.
Kills gone in again with him.
I know. It's just soft ground thing, isn't it, though? But it's not even soft ground out there anymore.
Which way is he going to hung this time? Because he was behind Asymmetric.
That's the thing. I would defend him. I've not put him up as my selection, but I'd defend him more than most on here. Yes, he's quirky, but Christ, he's talented.
Oh, very.
He is.
This is going to suit him far better than the Coventry or the July Stakes, I would say.
This will also be his 6th run of the season, so keep him going well with him, aren't
keep him going until the end.
Who is the Melrose selection?
Yes, it's good a sub. who's been backed. He was 12 to 1 when I did this morning, but he's now into about 7-8 to 1.
I have someone else that likes this, who, again, is fairly close to the yard as well, and they've had their winner, haven't they, last Empire. They've had a couple of places as well.
He's just very fast, clearly. You saw the way he won at Pontefract. His debut was at York. He finished a nose second in a race that's worked out quite well. The fact that it's at York was actually quite significant because it is unerringly, without any exceptions, Kevin Ryan says his best 2-year-olds to York.
I am surprised that Gubbas hasn't come in for more. So guess a sub. I thought you were going to say Gubbas. That's what I'm going.
Oh, because a sub. No, I'm going with because a sub. And I just wanted to mention with Pontefract run because he's beaten Hello My Darling into second and Sam Maximus into third. They were third in the pre-Robert Papin and July Stakes respectively.
So this is under the radar stuff.
Both pieces of form are extremely strong. He's clearly quick. He was a horse that I thought he was certainly being underplayed at 12s, undervalued at 12 to 1. And now he's into about 8 to 1. He's getting closer to where he should be, but I put him up at those sort of prices. I think he should be respected and just given a lot of thought actually because the form is really good. You get the impression he's one of Ryan's fastest, and if you're one of Kevin Ryan's fastest, you're fast.
He's definitely going to be the target for Asymmetric, isn't he?
You'd think. He's a son of Acclamation as well, who's the leading sire in this race. He's
really?
Three of his progeny have won the race. Obviously, looking at pedigrees as well, Memas won this race in, 2016. He's the sire of Gabas and Qatar. He also was a sire of
Sale as well, of course, who beat Asymmetric, could have come to this race, couldn't he?
And Supremacy won this race last year.
The fact that Gabas is running here tells you that with the horses that he could have put in at Hannon, so Hugh Masson was on that, wasn't he? And the way he won the Super Sprint, I think he won 6. They won yesterday, didn't they?
The Super Sprint was, that was a delayed second run. They intended to run him in the Coventry and all other races, but he got held up.
It's so obvious now, isn't it? It's so obvious now. It's one of those horrible ones.
So
from the stable that invented the race,
Oh, exactly. That was it. They don't have any qualms about running proper horses in that race, did they?
No, definitely not.
You know that of anyone.
So this is quite a decent race, isn't it?
I don't think it is. We said about Acclamation being the sire most successful in this race. His dam sire, Sholikov. Sire of Gold Cup winners, yes.
Really?
Don Cossack's sires is his dam sire.
This is what you get in this studio. We can get nerdy, we can go deep. Don't worry, some bloodstock action there. All right, Barry, I am surprised that Asymmetric is as big as he is. I mean, what is he now on the exchange? I mean, 3 to 1. I thought he'd be nearer 2s.
Still around the 130 mark, 4.2, 4.6 Ebro River. That's the real strong one now. Gobas 5.6, 8.6 Qatar. Gives us so back out to 11.5. 8.4 perfect power steady at that. It's Asymmetric. Looks like he's going to go off favour for sure, but relatively weak. But he's probably just finding his true price in the race, in fairness, Dave.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so Ebro River and Asymmetric.
Probably is quite an open race.
Not a lot between them, is there? Perfect Power, who Barry mentioned, was the original favourite for this. Took out the Norfolk, didn't he? Needed every yard of the Norfolk, so it's a 6th furlong. I'm, again, a bit surprised from stall 6 that Hannigan and Fahey's run up. It's been a quiet week so far for Richard Fahey.
I think Fahey's 0 for 20 in this race. And also, he had Perfect Power had the perfect draw at Ascot race stand side on the day where racing stand side was clearly beneficial. You were mentioning stall 7 about Asymmetric. I think that's the one downfall for the horse.
What, because he's going to have to weave through?
Yeah, he's not got the early pace of some of these, and he's going to have to
need
find
luck,
the
you mean?
passage. Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, good luck wherever
Why,
you are.
do you think they'll gravitate towards the rail here?
I think
the stands rail.
I've got a feeling they might, Barry.
Yeah.
If I was telling Kevin Stott his instructions from 5 and he's on the get to that rail, please.
Ping, ping, fill your lungs and go on again. Katura might keep him warm. Kunan might keep him warm as well. What will Ebro River do from stall 2? He's just
whatever
going
he damn well likes. Generally.
whatever Ebro River wants. Okay, looks like Asymmetric will go off favourite then. And as I said, good luck wherever you are playing. This is the second race of 5 today here on RP Live. Thrilled to be back with you. And for what's nearly the half-time whistle, plenty more to go. My nap goes on Saturday, by the way. I'm going to tease that one. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Okay.
Mine too.
There we go. Okay,
Probably
right,
a Gulfstream, isn't it?
Probably a Gulfstream. All right, okay, we're off. 2.25 and away we go. And Perfect Power, not the best away, just squeezed slightly. Asymmetric has jumped beautifully. He's going to want to take a little bit of a lead from Giss Us Up, but Katura goes on. Now, Kevin Stott has strangled Giss Us Up.
What are you trying to do there? That's obviously deliberate. You wouldn't be doing that if the horse...
That suggests that they were fearing a pace burn-up. They're quite clever, the Ryans, with their tactics. They look at the races, they look at the pace maps. They've done it. Juan Elcano...
doesn't look that clever at the moment. He's pulling like
going
mad.
fast, are they, TC?
No, very slow. First furlong was only
Asymmetric's absolutely tanking. He's settled best, which is often the key in these 2-year-old races, but will he get the run? Ebro River is in 4th. Gubbas, they're riding him for conservation over this final furlong. And Perfect Power, the Royal Ascot winner, sees squeeze them all in.
I'd want to be on Couture right now. He's had the run of the race out.
Yeah, he really has. He's had very much the best of it.
Absolutely. Gubbas is being pulled out then. Asymmetric.
He's got a bit to do there, hasn't he?
Desperate for a run, but will he get there? It's opening up now for Asymmetric. Okay, on the near side it's Couture. The pace is holding up.
Oh, no, he's
got
through.
Ebro River, Gubbas. This is a right old finish. They're going to be blanketing. Go on, Asymmetric. Off we go. Alan King. What a week for him. TC and Dave Orton fancied it. This was the horse that we thought would go off much shorter. And he's got it. And Martin Harley punches the air. One thing I said to the jockeys on these shows a couple of months ago, celebrate your winners. Oshin Murphy does it. The young boys do it. Great to see Martin Harley, who it's got to be said has had a sticky start since he's come back from foreign shores. Gubbas in second. Looked like Coonan held on for third. Ebro River looks all right. Ebro River to me, was he on his best behaviour today?
Yeah, I think he was. He's travelled fine. I mean, he probably wants a stiff 5, doesn't he? I don't know, what does he want?
What does he want? Again, we'll pick the bones out of what he wants.
I do think Giza Sub probably wants to go back to 5.
You could argue that he's run right up to his a previous form with Asymmetric, though, couldn't you, really?
I think the best horse has actually finished 5th, even though I've put up the winner. Perfect Power.
Let's get to that after we go to Barry. OK, when did they know that Asymmetric was going to go through? I heard you shouting for a few, Barry.
Yeah, there's nothing really traded short in it, Dave. Couture traded at 3.5. Ebro River traded at 3.3. Gubbas traded at a low at 3.85. Nothing really traded that short at all, to be perfectly honest with you. So the favourite the winner gets a quote of 5 from 8 for the Gimcrack.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Gimcrack, another race, obviously, at the York Festival, the Ebor Festival, as we call it, next month towards the back end. It got a couple of mentions yesterday with Armour.
It's the first time King he's had a horse like this, so he's just going to dance every dance to them, isn't he? He's going to go Gimcrack next, you would assume. But TC's absolutely right, by the way. Perfect Power has been chopped up about 3 times. OK, so let's just talk about the winner before we're watching at a replay now. The head-on is going to be really interesting for you out there if you're watching it on your screens as well. We know you have multiple screens, things like that. Stay with us on this, because this is where you get the real-time analysis. No better men with me this afternoon to give you the best analysis. Best 3 horses in the race are actually the 3 last halfway.
Which is surprising given they didn't.
Absolutely.
We didn't think they'd gone quick, and Coonan has held on, hasn't he? So if you're writing this up now...
Even those fast downhill furlongs, which are the 2nd and 3rd furlongs on the 5 furlong track,
are you suggesting, therefore, that we've seen above average 2-year-old sprinters here? Could this be a good thing for next year? Do you see what I mean?
What you've got to remember is they've finished quite bunched. Obviously, it's a 6 furlong race, but they've finished especially bunched. You would suggest that those horses are, by maybe a few pounds, so a length or so better. They're more superior to the rest than this form has given them credit for. That's not to say they're all superstars. It's just to say that those probably 3 horses are better than, are maybe a little bit more superior than the result gives them credit for.
Would you handicap it around Coonan, who's kept Couture warm? Couture's finished last in the end. You know, he looked like he was going to quicken and make a bold bid, didn't he? I wouldn't give up on him at all.
Coonan's
had the well run.
Coonan's improved there.
He's finished, what, a length and a bit behind Perfect Power in the Norfolk, didn't he? Perfect Power, we're watching the head on now. If you're on this, look away. You're absolutely right, TC. Nothing's gone right. I was just having a look at Richard Fahey's record, and he won't want me to say this, but in the last 14 days, this is a powerhouse yard that runs a lot of horses. Yeah. But he's had 3 winners from his last 85. And that arguably should have got him back on the score sheet, right?
Yeah, he's had a poor record in this race, not in form at the moment, but Perfect Power, everything went wrong. Stumbled out the stalls, raced with no cover in the first furlong. They didn't go hard gallop and he was last, so he was unfavoured. Hampered 2 furlongs out, hampered 1 furlong out.
Looks like the attack issue as well.
Over a furlong out, you have the chance to go outside Gubbas a furlong and a half out and didn't take it. Yeah. Which, I mean, it's probably the percentage call, but this time it's proven not to be the case.
He was on his right lead and Paul Hannigan was trying to steer him outside, but he couldn't. And as you can see, just from a furlong out, Paul was basically steering one hand here because he needs to change legs. He changed legs right on the line as well.
So in contrast to Royal Ascot, everything went wrong this time.
Yeah, but I think he's a horse with a massive future.
I'm quite excited about this race because you're talking about the Gimcrack, you're talking about the middle park.
Look at him fail to pull him up as well. Like, the horse is really picking up at the line. He's hit the line the hardest out of all of them.
One of the most exciting finishes of the week so far, and I've got a feeling this is a division that's going to be fun now because you can make cases for reversals of form. OK, we may not have an absolute star in the pack yet, but it's going to be exciting to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And these 2-year-olds, because they're always improving, you know, you said about rate around a horse. I don't think you should rate any of these good group races around a horse at these 2-year-olds because so few of them are exposed. They're all still improving because they're very young horses. And, you know, we're going to see, next time they'll probably run Perfect Power in the Gimcrack next time because it's obviously Fahey likes to send one there and you might find he goes off right up there with Asymmetric. But you get to take a view because you can't factor in what didn't happen, or certainly when you do, everybody's opinion will be different on what didn't happen. Whereas, and that's where the interest will come in the markets.
Richard Fahey obviously been around a long time and has trained over 3,000 career winners.
3,000.
Unbelievable. And yet this will be getting to him, won't it? That's the sort of thing that when you're a trainer, you just blood boil.
There's a little bit, because you wouldn't get to 3,000 winners in a career without mattering over every single one. There's a little bit of that, isn't there? You wouldn't, even though he's had such a huge amount of winners, he has to care to that extent to get there.
In total contrast, TC, to Martin Harley and Alan King. King, he's just got this festival magic about him, hasn't he? 3 winners at Royal Ascot last year. Champions Day winner. We see it at Cheltenham Festival, Aintree, all that sort of thing. It's 2 from. Is he 2 from 2 now?
He's a better flat trainer these days, isn't he?
Yeah. How many trainers, dual-purpose trainers, can switch codes and then arguably be better?
This is not the first time that's been bandied about on this panel. It might have been even by you, Keith. I can't remember.
Possibly, but partly there might be part of it in that he doesn't get over jumps. There's so much concentration of super power, owners, and not to say it doesn't exist on the flat. Of course it does, but I would say there are fewer big players on over jumps, and Kingy gets the patronage of a bit of McManus, but none of them really.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Whereas over on the flat, it is a little bit more spread around, and even owners that even midweight owners have got a lot of spending power. Whereas on over jumps, it's a little bit of.
I'm happy for Martin Harley there as well, guys, because it hasn't quite gone his way. He got a job with Gosden when he came back, didn't he? And Thady Gosden, he was put on horses that they didn't think would suit certain other riders.
I think he's had a poor season, personally, in my opinion. I thought he's given a couple of horses that should have won poor rides. Obviously, that's a huge winner.
A lot's been said about some of the rides he's been given.
Yeah, Apollo 1 on All Weather Champions final day was a highlight poor ride, in my opinion. But
not that you're bitter.
No, but I wasn't even on him, but everyone,
sure.
I think I did the podcast that day.
There were a couple last year as well for Gozzi when he came back, I think, towards the back end.
It's great for him to get a good group winner on the board, and obviously means quite a bit to Martin Harley, who
obviously affects your judgment as a rider, doesn't it? If the guys yesterday were on, they'll be telling you about this. His confidence got such a lot to do with it, his judgment calls. And he did have to think about which way to go there. So you can see why it meant so much for him. Because I reckon in Martin Harley's head this morning, he probably was thinking what you said there, TC. I don't really want to be in 7.
No.
Because I'm going to have to be at my best to get this over the line.
Well, he did. He broke quite well from 7, didn't he?
Almost too well.
To get that good position, he had to break to get the position, and he ended up maybe further forward than he wanted to be, but that's exactly where you wanted to be in that race. We saw the times just come through, and it was actually slower relative to standard than the first race, as in not even per furlong. Like it was 4 and a bit seconds over standard.
They didn't go quick, did they? But it is thought to be slightly softer on the, on the straight, isn't it?
No, that's the other way around.
It was no. Yesterday was quicker on the round course.
Yeah, it was meant to have flipped round.
Listen, that may be borne out. I don't know.
Quiz question, Quizmaster Melrose.
Is this about Goodwood?
No, it's about Martin Harley. When was his last group winner? Domestic group winner.
What, prior to today?
Prior to today.
Oh, was it?
As in year. Give me a year.
Oh man, I'm going to go. Oh, is it really like something like 2018 or something like that?
Maybe earlier than that. I'm going to go 2017.
2017 is correct. Can you remember the horse?
Can I hell?
Your dad would be remembering now.
No, he wouldn't. He
would be shouting at the screen going, my trixie's in, I know that much.
My
30p, whatever.
He rode Quiet Reflection to win the Renaissance Stakes in September 2017 and Invincible Army to win the Cyrenia Stakes.
Good knowledge, TC. There you go. Yeah, so since 2017, of course, he spent a lot of time away, didn't he?
He had a couple of group winners elsewhere.
He went to Australia and they liked him down under, which is not often the case. So, look, maybe a renaissance for Martin Harley. A little bit of housekeeping as well. Barry, we mentioned Carter, didn't we, in the Golden Mile, you say you're waiting to see. You might already know. Charlie Johnson has told our guys at the Post he won't run tomorrow, Carter. Although he did joke if they owned him, he'd be a certainty to run.
Yeah, they want May Danny to win.
Yeah, so Barry, okay, looks like they've got now all Shadwell hopes going on May Danny. Is that going to affect the market much? Looks like Carter's out.
Well, May Danny was always short in the bet, and he was one of the favourites the last time I looked there. Just give me a second there, I'll come back to you on it. But he's very short in the bet in May Danny. I think he was 6 or 7 to 1.
Yeah, the second fav in the sort of overall betting. I don't know what Betfair's exactly would have been, but yeah, in the overall betting, he was second fav.
It's one of those. It's one of the anti-post markets where if you're travelling at the time when the draw's done, you're like, no, I've got to stop the cars, you know what I mean, something like that. Or if you're on the train or underground, I had to go under that tunnel then, because it literally all changes. 20 to 1 shots can go into 5 to 1, can't they? Things like that. great fun at Goodwood. We have got the Gordon Stakes coming up. There's a double range of opinions on this, and it's the first leg of the Barry or Trixie.
Yeah, I'm going to take on third round here. Obviously, his form with Adayar turned around the trial in Lingfield considerably in Epsom. And maybe the track didn't suit him in Epsom. It might suit him better here, but I'm going to take him on. We're going to set our own price here, though, because when I sent in the selections, he was around a 7-4 chance or 15-8. He's out to 9-4 now, but going to look to lay him at around the 2-1 mark. So if you click on the lay button there, and we'll bring the lay selection down to probably about, we'll say 3.10. And we'll look to take 50 quid out of him at that. A little over 2-1. Happy to be a layer one. Wordsworth obviously has a big chance. Group place, like I said, in his last 2 runs. Europe was impressive last time. Ottoman Empire's a horse going in the right direction. Youth Spirit as well, and Sir Lucan last time out winners. So, Europe a last time out winner, and Sir Lucan a last time out winner. So, there's plenty in there against him. I just think he's falsely priced on that run in Epsom.
Love it, Barry. This is a double down on third round. Of course, beat Adayar, now the highest rated 3-year-old on turf. After a little quick word on the King George. Did you love it like everyone else?
Oh, it was a great race. I mean, I got it totally wrong. I thought Adayar possibly had the best of the Derby, while he was clearly the best horse on the day.
We just didn't really know because of the Lingfield flop and all that.
A little bit, and Hurricane Lane didn't turn up at Epsom. We didn't see the best of him until the Curragh and
Who is the best, Hurricane Lane or Adayar?
I think it would be Hurricane Lane myself. I think I would.
Fascinating, isn't it? Tom, not so sure.
I think Adayar. Yeah, I was there on.
I think it would be close enough that it would come down to tactics, wouldn't it? Yeah. I think Hurricane Lane, despite what I would have thought after the Dante, I think he is slightly quicker.
We could potentially find out in this race, couldn't we? Because we've got Wordsworth, of course, the last twice has followed home Hurricane Lane, and we've got Third Realm, who has beaten Adayar. And then
how close does Third Realm's form actually relate to Adayar, though?
Well, what are you suggesting, that Adayar just didn't turn up at Lingfield?
He got held. No, he got held up in a pocket. Third Realm got an easy run, and Adayar got held back and didn't get out until late. And Adayar's not the sort of horse that's going to make.
He did say sayonara to him, didn't he, when he came across to the stern side? It was the thrash.
He quickens nicely, Third Realm, and Adayar doesn't quicken quite as well as he does, probably.
Have you watched back a lot of the videos then on this chap?
I watched both Lingfield and Epsom. And a couple of things struck me. Firstly, that about Adayar, and Adayar went up the inside. The inside was probably the place to be when he won the Derby, but the inside was not the place to be at Lingfield when Third Realm beat him. Another thing about Third Realm that I noticed is that he hangs everywhere. He hung at Lingfield, he hung at Epsom, and of course, they're Lingfield and Epsom, and a lot of horses hang there, but he's at Goodwood now. You know, it's another track where that can happen. So that's I've put him up as my selection.
He was at Lingfield, though, isn't he? You know what I mean? That's pretty.
He was, but you might hang again, is what I'm saying. He should really win this on form.
He was in stall 2 at Epsom, wasn't he? That is the coffin box, isn't it?
The winner is in stall 1.
Well, yes, I know, Keith, but stall 2 has never won the Derby, ever.
He was just too keen to me.
Must be cursed.
Well, it's never happened, Keith. It's never happened. Handicapping should not be a justice system. I've really riled him there. Stall 2 has never won the Derby, and you just think it's just coincidental.
Of course it is.
That is absolutely.
Well, there's a tactical element that makes it less likely, but that means it can't ever happen.
If the jockeys were in now, they'd be like, "There's a reason, man, because you've got to move out."
Well, it does.
We all know
but
why.
Adayar,
every year before the Derby.
It happens in the Derby. Should have happened to Adayar, but there is a way around it. You saw how.
Remember, he had the filly, didn't he? Who runs, of course, this week as well. It's today, isn't it? That begins with Z. Zayada, thank you. In stall 1 in the Oaks. And he had stall 2, Third Realm. Rog must have been.
But there is a way around it. Adayar kept to the inside all the way, and the problem with stall 1 in the Derby a lot of time isn't so much, that the stall's got some, voodoo magic over it. It's the fact that you get mullered up the inside.
That is the sort of thing that would absolutely infuriate you.
I know, but the reason that you don't get as many winners from those stalls is because they tend to get mullered up the inside. But Adayar held a prominent position all the way and had nothing hanging across him. So he got the best of that race because he saved ground.
Kirby Magic ride.
That was a great ride.
Yeah, okay. So Third Realm, you think he'll bounce back. In the first race, Roger's horse that was fancying that Affadel, he ran well. Nagano blew him away yesterday. It was a group horse and handicap. Roger's horses on the round course at Goodwood, they're hard not to like. I think Third Realm is going to be hard to beat, but I can see Wordsworth. I like the fact he's coming here. You said to me, why wasn't he in the Goodwood Cup, didn't you? How many did they run in that? He is a stayer, no doubting. This is a ledger trial, isn't it, for the mile 6?
It is a ledger trial.
It is.
That's just sort of a tradition thing. It's not a race that necessarily tests whether a horse stays. I mean, I'll have a look at the winners, but I bet plenty haven't sort of stayed or certainly
Or followed up
Dived.
at...
Native Road ended up a stay across county won the Melbourne Cup. Crystal Ocean was not necessarily a stayer. Ulysses wasn't a stayer.
Crystal Ocean ran very well in the race, didn't he? Snow Skies won the race.
Mogul won the race last year. He's not turned out to be a
previous winners,
proper
by the way.
stayer. Highland Reel wasn't that much of a stayer. Noble Mission wasn't that much of a stayer.
Cross Counter, obviously, was
Basically,
a stayer.
some of them are and some of them aren't.
Gelding Cross Counter, wasn't he, when he won it? So
yeah, so he couldn't run it because did he not win or second? He was second in the Voltager as well.
yeah.
And then went on to win the Melbourne Cup. But you know, some of them are stairs and some of them aren't. Is basically the takeaway lesson from it. So let's not pretend it's a ledger trial in the sense that these horses all need to be ready to stay a mile 6.5.
I just think that they're going to bounce him out, and I've got the feeling that they're coming here. I think this probably will suit him a bit more than what we call the ledger trial at the Ebro meeting. It gives him some more time as well, doesn't it? He's been beaten by Salukan, of course. And TC, that was a race that you said, well, he didn't. I'm not sure about him that day. I thought behind Kamari, he emerged with a lot of credit for me. And Hurricane Lane run in France was as good as I think he's improving, and I think this will be key. The tactics in running for you players out there. If they bounce him out, he'll be quite hard to pass for my money.
I think they have to bounce him out. He just looks so slow when he raced against.
So
Salukan.
slow, it's harsh.
He was under the cosh from 6 furlongs out, and fair play to him. Like, he stuck at his game, and he pulled clear of the third home. But he was run down by Salukan, who travelled a lot better. He's clearly a speedier horse.
Because of that Salukan defeat, punters haven't forgiven him that. Because it was one for the multiples that day, wasn't it? He was the ACCA horse of the day.
What's interesting about it as well is that Third Realm, if there is one of the things, he's not bred to stay that way. He probably won't run in the ledger. He probably won't stay.
Right.
Whereas Wordsworth definitely stays. He probably wants the ledger as his minimum trip when he comes back next year. Ebir has already won the Bahrain Trophy, so he's obviously a bit more of a stayer.
So Al-Azi won in the same style last year at the Bahrain Trophy, came here and just completely flopped. Now, he probably wasn't right, Al-Azi there. So where do we stand with Ebir?
He's a good horse. I think
Gelding operation last time, wasn't it? And they said it hasn't necessarily improved his work, it's improved his mind in the final 2 furlongs.
Yeah, we've got Batas running tomorrow, and we all know what gelding operations can do, you know.
Yabir got ran down by Adia.
Year of the gelding, isn't it?
He got ran down by Adia in the classic trial over mile 2. If Keith doesn't think Adia's got a turn of foot, then I don't see how Yabir, who had the prime position in that race on a day where it favoured the prominent sitters at Sandown, which it often does.
The gelding operation definitely worked, though, didn't it, in the Bahrain?
A lot of.
You don't like him,
under the bridge
TC,
since
no.
then. No, we've got a lot of water under the bridge since then. You know, these horses have all run 3 times since these 3-year-olds, and
since the Sandown race.
But the thing with Yabir is he had 4 runs last year. He proved he was a good juvenile. I didn't think there was that much improvement from 2 to 3 in Yabir, and the fact that he got ran out by Adia, who's obviously a much better horse now than he was at Sandown. The collateral form that against Third Realm.
We've got
2 for Wordsworth, myself and Barry.
We've got £12 on RPR's improvement from 2 to 3.
Okay, fair play, but you know,
there's a little domestic going on here in the panel. But Third Realm, you're having a domestic, but you're agreeing with each other, of course, because
we essentially fancy the same horse. Third Realm I put up at 130, 72, 9 to 4 now probably is the price because there are just a couple of little niggles. I think he's the best horse in the race. And it's just a case of whether the other little niggles come to the fore or not.
He called him the coolest dude in the stable, Roger Varian. It was
not the sort of thing you'd expect Roger Varian to say, is it?
He actually, I sort of questioned him on that, and he goes, you know when you say something and you regret it immediately afterwards? It must have been David Milnes that was like, gold, Rog, gold. And of course that was the headline, of course. But
David Milnes
he's very calm, yeah.
He's never said gold, Rog, gold either.
Probably not. The Dow, David Milnes, our Newmarket correspondent. But it isn't, of course, just a match, is it? Paul Keeley likes Youth Spirit, who he thinks can reverse. 3 places he can reverse with Third Realm, that Derby form. Alias, who Barry alluded to. Johnny Murtagh, this is an interesting horse, isn't it? Probably bound for Australia, looking at his colours on Ottoman Emperor, Barry.
Yeah, he won Navan last day. He was rated 96. He's rated 104 now. He won really, really easily. And it's interesting to see that they're stepping him up like this, that Johnny's sending him over to race here. It's a bit of a tip in itself. Ben Cohen's a really, really, really nice young jockey, a really good young jockey, learning straight at the moment, but he's going places. And I think this horse could run a big race as well. He's just another imponderable that Third Realm will have to overcome.
Yeah, very interesting. He's coming here. Probably could have stayed for other targets, couldn't he? And they probably, this is a horse that will end up in Melbourne or New South Wales. All right, shall we open it up to the floor? See who's enjoying what out there. We know you're loving the show today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. That's what it's all about. And Iron Smiler comes back on and says, Manouzier doesn't normally mistake his geese for swans. Quite right. Absolutely super operation that. So I'm giving a chance to Bellocchio. Murphy is in flying form. Yeah, he is the outsider of the lot. Was it the Royal Ascot run last time? He actually sort of ran to form that day by an Alan Carr, who strictly on form gives him something to find with Wordsworth, doesn't it? But Alan Carr didn't get the run of the race. I don't think we could quite judge it like that. This is the imponderables, isn't it, when you take things on face value. You've got to watch with your eyes.
Definitely. And, I mean, another thing to consider here is I'm a massive fan of David Manouzier as well. He's obviously a brilliant trainer, isn't he? But that's not reason enough for me to...
I don't often hear you say the word brilliant, I've got to be honest.
He's superb.
Pull you up on that.
He's really good. And
I'd like to see him have some chases.
I don't know if he did chase us so well. I never quite figured out French chasing form.
Oh, let's not go there. French chasing form's been mentioned.
The thing about Bellocchio, he's a son of Bellardo, and if you look at his progeny statistics, Bellardo's offspring's only had one runner over 12 furlongs to 13 furlongs. No successes. He was a miler as well.
Bellardo as well. He was a juvenile. He won the Coventry, didn't he? But it tends to be a self-fulfilling prophecy a lot of the time. You're not sending Galileo mares to Bellardo.
True.
Really, are you?
That's one of your buzz sayings now. I think when you said it about a month or two ago, I was like, we're talking about self-fulfilling prophecies, but it's something that you like to go to. Do you write it as well?
I have written it before. The first time I heard it actually was...
You're like, I can fit this in.
Yeah, it was when they talked about the precocity of French breds over jumps, and somebody said it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because they just run them loads and they end up, over the top by the time they're 9.
This is what you get from the Quizmaster. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. All right,
a lot of them. It's a related contingency writ large.
All right, let's get back to the socials quickly. MI, is that right, guys? MI, M1? MI, all right, me, perhaps even. Third Realm, easy to forgive any horse a bad run at Epsom, and even taking his Lingfield win with a pinch of salt. So what are you going there? So this is going to win, is it?
Fancies him. Yeah, he fancies him. Yeah.
Fancy him, all right. Okay, and Paul Ridgway comes back in, and all right, some love for your beer. He wins this, comes to Australia, wins the Melbourne Cup, cross-counter, 3-year-old, won this a couple of years ago, went on to success.
Isn't nothing going to the Melbourne Cup? Isn't that... You know better than me. I'm only looking at the headlines at the moment. It's not...
If any operation is going to take a horse down there successfully, it will be the boys in blue. I think even definitely over their counterparts in Ireland, I think. I do think so. And they've got the geldings, of course, haven't they? Because they've got Kamari, the Queen's Vase winner, and then Year Beer. And it's something of an embarrassment of riches potentially next year for them in the Cup division. I think that's a good point Paul makes to TC, don't you?
They
can't go to Ledger, can they, because of geldings?
Exactly. I just don't think he's good enough, even for this race, let alone the Melbourne Cup.
Right, so that's just it. Just like,
That's my opinion.
I'm
happy to be proven wrong.
Not there then.
Yeah, happy to be proven wrong, but I personally at this stage don't think he's good enough for either.
There you go, Paul. Don't be put off mailing in again. All right. TC, we want our viewers to stay with us. Third Realm, the Spotlight verdict then. Who does that today? Spotlight's been having a really good week again, perhaps. Oh, Richard Austin.
Oh, the Wing Commander himself's come out for
Wing Commander, because he runs the Spotlight department.
He's the big cheese.
Toughest taskmaster known to the racing post.
He's just so old school and
he breaks people, doesn't he?
So timeful.
Graham Rodway somehow got through his regime. I think it was probably one of those. It's like when Bond came back. You know what I mean? What was the film that he did? The one where Judi Dench carked it, and she went, "You shouldn't really go back out in the field, but we need you." It's like, gee, we need you on Spotlight.
He absolutely...
Spectre, yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
Do you know,
Rodway is the Spectre of the Spotlights. He's sort of gone, don't give him the assault course, whatever you do. He'll never make it.
How Spotlight's going, G-Rods? And I used to
dark room.
Minutes aside and just put the phone down while he ranted about it.
Yeah, he's a tough taskmaster, Richard Austin, but he's one of the best tipsters we've got at the post in Third Realm. He's seeing it big there. He has to nap. It's his thing, isn't it? In the big race.
You nap in the big race. That is like the Spotlight's thing. You nap in the big race.
Okay, all right. Listen, I want some more race courses in. Let's get the chats in about the race courses. We're talking about unlucky race courses.
We should also talk about, Barry sort of cast it a little bit as, this idea of superstition. It's, I don't go for that sort of carry on. But there should always be a logic behind it. And if you have got a bogey track, don't just write it up to like fairies or something. Try and figure out why it's a bogey track.
That's going to play with your mind, though, isn't it? I think just steering away from them would be fine for me.
True enough.
We've got enough of them. I don't need to be going to, what's it, like York again.
I'm surprised at York.
The thing is about York, you get excited by it and you're like, oh, it's York. And then you're like, actually, I'm terrible at York. I actually took it off last year. I went to Turkey, believe it or not. I'm very happy to have it off. And
That's where you got that new hair from, was it?
Brother, the boy's in the studio like that one. This new hair, I don't know, it might look like I've been in the Turkish barbars.
I need to go there, don't worry about that.
Yeah, hang on a minute, TC, coming from you. I don't think have you ever had a haircut? You know what I mean? Absolutely, you'd be able to rip it off in a minute, I think. Keith, I asked you if you'd had a show haircut. You said to me this whole thing. You said I've had...
No, I had it done for my daughter's naming ceremony the other week.
Ah, okay.
So
How old is she now?
She's 16 months now.
You went on... Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's so...
She's walking about and everything now.
They do that, man.
Eventually, yeah.
You do that. I know you always think to yourself, oh, should they be a bit quicker and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, we digress. So let's hear from your unlucky racecourses or indeed your favourite racecourses, Ellie, because the point being, is Goodwood a lucky track for you? Has it been this week? Here we go. Doug Barnett. Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Doug, I was going to call you Doug, but Doug. What's Doug? Sure. Hang on a minute. I've had the big dub I'm learning. What's Doug? That's a new one on me.
Barnett, yeah. I'm going to go with Australian on that. I guess Doug Barnett sounds like an Australian.
Where are you watching us, Doug?
He avoids Haydock wherever he's from.
We'll call him the Barnet. So like TC's reference there, that's perfect timing. I avoid Haydock. Southwell is consistent as much as horses that do well there tend to continue.
That's right. If Southwell is your bogey track, that means you're not looking hard enough.
Should we have a little morning for Southwell?
I know there's one more meeting. Yeah. How many horses are going to be laid out for that?
Scott Dixon's going to have about 45 runners.
Mick Appleby's going to have about 8. It's going to be brilliant.
Can someone tell me what the point is of putting Topita down at Southwell? Still, this has gone under the radar a little bit. They announced it just for Cheltenham or something dirty. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was something awful, wasn't it? And it got my goat going. But there's a lot of people that would be absolutely up in arms about it, and horses as well. Horses like Notation and Mark Johnson's, it comes to mind, that can just, when it runs on that surface, a horse turns up with duck eggs. You've really got to do your homework there, haven't you? Sires and all that sort of thing. It's such a fun, interesting
running
track.
Every week at the moment over staying trips called Tynecastle Park, and he's got 4.
He is better. Yeah, absolutely. And they're trying to reinvent him into a turf horse. He's going to struggle, you know. Yeah, but have you ever been to Southwell?
Oh, loads of times.
What is it? What are they going to do? They can't have a Breeders' Cup there, can they?
Oh, they won't on Capita. Of course they won't.
What are they trying to do? Are they trying to make this into a super all-weather track, you know?
They're just trying to...
It could potentially be the best all-weather track, that's what Ark have said, because of the circuit, you know.
Well, the success of Newcastle and Wolverhampton,
they're not going to get the crowds, though, because it's not even in Southwell, it's slightly away from it, isn't it?
Well, what does Simon Mapletoft called it?
What did he call it?
What's the town? The Rolleston venue.
Oh, yeah,
probably
did. Well, Simon would know, of course. He's got a real big following. Southwell, do not get me started. No, it's what you have done. Bobby Kimber comes back on and says, Haydock over jumps. We don't like it, Bobby. Mainly because the camera angles make you think the race is over 2 furlongs out. What was the Martin Pipe horse that famously wasn't even in the screen until the run-in?
Yeah.
Oh, man, was that
that was quite recent, so it very much wasn't a Martin Pipe horse.
I remember when we were doing promos for this show, that was something... I think
he was
Jennings came over, I think, and we might have even done that to sort of like, look, guys, we can do this. We can show you how we did this. That was the race we watched.
We've got another one in here from Carl Wilkes, and this is a good one. I don't think I've ever picked a winner at Chepstow.
When was the last time you had a winner at Chepstow, Carl? I'm with you. I don't like Chepstow.
It's totally different.
I'm analysing it.
It's a great.
I've never been.
Great track over jumps. I hate it on the flat.
Worst point of Guinness he's ever had too.
What? Oh, yeah, that's
I don't think I've ever had a good point of Guinness.
Oh, no, really?
Oh, no, Keels is out there. He'll get at the door. He'll be at the door knocking on.
Keels is more than any Irishman I know, Keels is your Guinness barometer, isn't he?
Well, yeah. Isn't it just the same wherever you go? I've said that to be provocative because the Irish
definitely have done.
The Irish will tell you it's different at St James's Gate.
Great stuff, guys. Let's keep this going. Absolutely fantastic. A bit of Haydock. I didn't think I was going to see Haydock in there.
Haydock's not one of my favourite tracks. I think mainly because
we've got Betfair Barry on. You know, this is their big track.
The ground just gets bottomless.
Get some really bad ground. Because somebody said, you think the racing's over 2 furlongs out. The race is never over at Haydock.
No, the way that ground gets it a criminal bend to us. You know, it's a right angle bend.
Yeah, it's quite. It doesn't get the sort of press it should.
They changed the fences as well, didn't they? Because the Tommy Whittle used to be one of the most
years ago.
Yeah, but
still. Over hurdles, you can never go
past. Portable fences, aren't they, of course?
But they're stiffer than they were. It used to be the case that they weren't really there, but now they've stiffened them up to the point where, what was the horse? King Fontaine it was called, a Trevor Hemmings horse. and it hit every fence on the way around Haydock and still won. And that was seen as the end of days. Haydock's finished, but they have stiffened the fences again there. It is actually a bit of a jumping test again.
Did you back the Fontaine? Is this why?
No, I did not. I backed it next time.
I think it
got beat, yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right. Okay, great stuff. Loving the interaction, guys.
I don't back anywhere. Didn't you know? I never back any winners.
What, anywhere?
Yeah, never. I'm always unlucky.
Well, you're not going to do it in the 2 mile 4 race tomorrow with Smart Champion, let me tell you that much. Just get that one out of the way. Disappointment coming. Barry, all right, we've digressed. We've had a bit of a crack. What's going on in the market?
Favourite on the slide out to 3.8 now, third round. 4 Wordsworth, 4.8. Yabir, Ottoman Empire, 13.5. Sir Lucan into 12. So, yeah, it looks like Wordsworth's challenging third round for favouritism at the moment on the exchange anyway.
Could he yet go off favourite? That is interesting, isn't it? There's the dead 8 of here, of course, as well, isn't there? So there'll be an each-way play here. What about Alias? This is the one we've not mentioned yet for King Rafe, double on the first day.
Yeah, you've got a lot to find on the figures, and it's one of these horses that you go back, you check that form out. How much do you like it?
Where could he have run? Is this a case of?
Well, he's rated 103. That's the thing. He has been almost taken out of it. Now, this is an interesting one. The RPRs in BHA have taken a very different view to that last race at Hamilton because he's gone up from 90.
Glasgow Stakes.
The Glasgow Stakes. Wow, they don't get. Yeah, so the BHA.
If ever there was a painful demotion, it was the Glasgow Stakes, wasn't it? It used to be thought to be a proper trial, and it got moved over for places.
Did it? I can't even remember it being. When was it a proper trial?
It used to be a big trial back in the day.
Right.
Luca Kamani used to use it, or the Northern guys used to moan about the fact that Stouty would take one up there, all that sort of stuff, and then basically nothing that won it was any good for about 10 years.
Well, that's the point. That's the way it's been taken with the RPRs. They've gone 94 on that race, whereas the BHA have raised him from 98 to 103.
Conditions race now. It definitely used to be listed.
Still listed.
Big group.
Still listed.
This is a demoted.
Yeah.
Race. So Alias not good enough. Maybe stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment. Why's Kill's gone for Youth Spirit then? This is the Chester winner, isn't it? TC.
You know what? Don't know. I backed him and tipped him at Chester. Put him up in the lead column in the paper.
Needed every yard.
I thought it was a bad race. And he was in the prime position. Great ride by Tom Marquand. Came through and beat Sandhurst, who's clearly not one of Ballydor's best.
No, Fancy Man was in third, wasn't it? Pleasant Man's come out and won a couple of handicaps on it, but that's...
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't a very good race. On ratings, he's got every chance, rated 111.
19 lengths in the derby.
I didn't think there was any excuse either. I don't see how he's going to reverse the form in third round myself.
Well, Paul Keeley thinks different. So, okay, good luck wherever you're playing. They are walking round down at the start. Lots of fun today. Still got 2 days left to go. And in 2021, of course, you can be with us every Saturday. We'll mix it up. Don't you worry about that. We've got a couple of Betfair days in the pot as well that we're looking at. Maybe some away meetings too. Just to mention, of course, if you want to join the Members Club, if you're not a premium member at the Racing Post, there is an offer out there for you. Up until the 1st of... So you've got basically the rest of July to do this week. You get 20% off when joining. Type in all one word, good year. Good year. And you will get 20% off. You get absolutely all the premium content. It makes crazy sense to do that, I think.
Barry, quick question. This lay bet on third round, did you want it to keep it in running, or was this just before?
No, I'm happy enough. Just I don't want to chase the price out.
Cool.
He's 4.1 now. He's going all the way out to over 3 to 1. So it looks like Wordsworth's going to go off favourite. So happy for it to cancel pre-race.
Thank you, Tom. On the ball, which the traders haven't been all the time this week, I have to say.
It's been strange not being the trader for once, actually.
I think we could task one of the producers one time to put together a little show reel of some of the mistakes that have been made on the trading, actually. We should say because of COVID, of course, and, all the restrictions we've got. Basically, they've got enough of the bloopers, they're saying. Yes, thank you very much. In my ear was senior producer. But there have been a couple that have gone the right way. Ross Briley, I think, kicked it off by backing the wrong horse, and it won. And he was like, "Oh, hang on a minute, I think we've won." And there were a couple there. Charlie Post yesterday, I can't remember what he did, but they was getting on over. They needed to refresh it. Dan Walsh had to come in, and Matty Batch was absolutely over the moon because Barry had called it foolproof for the selection. And bless old Post, he had a late night. The night before at Goodwood, he was chucking champagne bottles at bins. He was saying that's what they do apparently after racing.
I tell you what, I've never been to Goodwood or certainly the festival, and everything goes on. They have charity cricket matches, charity golf days, throwing champagne.
Batch won the golf day as well. That was a big clip that we had.
Absolute bandit.
I would absolutely never play golf with a jockey.
Utter bandit, Batch.
I've never play golf with a jockey.
Yeah, Rupert Bell, who actually runs the day, tweeted back to one of our tweets at our social, cheating bastard. Okay, last one going in for the Gordon Stakes. Good luck. A reminder, Barry and me taking on Third Realm. We both like Wordsworth. Thomas and Keith all over the Fav. Good luck where you are playing. A bit of love out there for Ibir, Bellocchio as well, for the great David Manuzio. Big day for David on Saturday, of course, but they are off and running now in the 3 o'clock. Will we see a St. Ledger star emerge? Let's have a look who's going to take it on. Ottoman Empire up there. Now, this is what I wanted to see. Barry, I'm going to come to you straight away. I was hoping that Wordsworth would lead. He's in front.
Yeah, he's banged him out in front. Really positive from him because he knows that Ottoman Empire is a keen front runner as well. So, Ryan Moore, very positive here.
I love it. And has that reacted to the exchange? It must have done, wasn't it? Yeah, they're just about joints at the moment. Keith, what are you thinking?
Well, Wordsworth, that's the deliberate tactic there, but I think Zini might have anticipated it to an extent because he is just sitting quite close on Third Realm. He'll ride him probably just to out-quicken Wordsworth. I assume that's the plan when push comes to shove in the straight. Yabir is a bit free.
He's being dwarfed by Wordsworth, isn't he, TC, Third Realm?
Yeah, but they were saying last time out the reason why he lost to Epsom was because he was too keen. Well, obviously he bumped into a really good horse. And he was a bit keen as well at Lingfield before. So I think this end-to-end gallop set by Wordsworth will suit the favourite.
No one's keener than Ibir at the moment.
Ibir is definitely pulling. In fact, he might be the biggest horse in the field as well. He is a big old thing.
Yeah, that's not going to be good, I don't think, isn't it? Bellocchio out the back.
He's moving forward now and he's going to go up with the leaders. He's gone level with Third Realm.
Yes.
He's actually
William Buick saying, all right, boy, off we go. And he's gone right up the inside of the favourite as well. So Wordsworth.
Probably going to take the cutaway now. He's going to be on the inside
He's desperate to slow it down a little bit, Ryan Moore, isn't he? But Ottoman Empire keeping him warm, TC.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Moore should be slowing it down. He needs a proper trip this league.
Look at Yabir now going up on the inside. Oh, this is, I'll tell you what, Andrea Arazzini, if you're on the favourite and Third Realm, you're loving this because William Buick has said, I'll tell you what, lads, we're not going fast enough. Okay, how will Wordsworth respond? Barry, what's it doing as we turn in?
Third round favourite at 3.243. Wordsworth, Yabir 5.9. Yabir just pulled himself to the front. I don't think it was any more tactical than that. The favourites at third round is 2-1 now.
I would be absolutely sure about that because it's the slowest part of the race. I think Buick might have done that deliberately.
And that wouldn't have helped Wordsworth. But he gained Wordsworth, didn't he? Here gets Sir Lucan, who took Wordsworth's scalp, of course. Okay, they're relying abreast then with 2 furlongs to go. I'll tell you what, Wordsworth is he's not going to stop Wordsworth, but will something do him for toe? Could it be Sir Lucan? Could we have got the wrong one again?
Ottoman Empire.
Ottoman Empire is keeping on. This is a seriously progressive horse. It's a beast of a horse. Here come Youth Spirit as well for Paul Keeley. I bet that office is shaking out there at the minute. Third round, not good enough.
They're not catching this, are they?
Definitely Wordsworth wants 2 miles. He's coming back. A flash of the tail then for Ottoman Empire.
Sir Lucan's the last one.
Here comes Third round again. Third Lucan over the top. What a finish this is. Ottoman Empire. Johnny Murtagh. He placed him successfully. Are we looking at the Melbourne Cup winner there, Keith Melrose?
I wouldn't know.
He's owned by the OTC. Is he in the Ledger? He's owned by the OTC, basically, isn't he? Who is an Australian company. They used to basically come and have lots of horses with Luca Kamani, running group races around here and going farm races down under.
Have these colours won the Melbourne Cup? I don't recognise these colours.
Yeah, lots of famous horses down under. I'm trying to think if they've actually won the Melbourne Cup. Maybe not. But this is a horse that won't mind going into the quarantine and doing the test, is what I'm saying, basically.
That's fine.
So, will they aim bigger? He looked very raw there, Barry Orr, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did. He's always ridden quite positively. I suppose he was a bit taken aback when Wordsworth took him on early. And there's a doubt about him staying. He's by celebration. But Johnny Murtagh said he was going to bounce him out in front. He wanted to find out if he stayed the trip or not. And this would tell him where to go off the back of this race. And it's most definitely to the Ledger now, I would imagine.
When did he go short, Barry? Was it obviously he took it up just before the furlong pole, didn't he?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them traded short in it now because there was a wall of horses behind it. But 2.78 for third round, that's the shortest. He went. Wordsworth hit a low of 3.1. Yabir hit a low of 3.65. Sir Lucan hit a low of 1.55. But Ottoman Empire had a Betfair SP of 12.5. Hit a high of 30. Let me see how much that was for. No, 28. For a quid, 7 quid at 27, 25, 22 quid at 25.
The one that's caught my eye there is
10 from 20 for the St. Ledger.
Thank you, Barry.
How did that go 2s on? At what point did you watch that?
He was cruising. You called it, TC.
Yeah, there's cruising and there's 2s on.
I think that Ottoman Empire must have gone big when he didn't get to the front because people have read the comments like Barry knew as well. Front runner, we know we're going to get him out, and people don't like it when a preferred tactic isn't adopted, right? So Wordsworth has gone to front. I'm happy at this stage. If I was writing up this race, I would, no matter what, say that Wordsworth wasn't done any favours when the beer went up his inside on the turn. It just caught him out a little bit. Ryan Moore wasn't expecting it necessarily. And we've seen it with Love at the weekend in the King George. We see horses at Royal Ascot all the time. When a horse goes past them that's not really got a tactical change of gears, it's nearly game over almost every single time.
Your beer never settled. Sure he didn't.
No,
exactly. He had to let his head go. But there was a moment where Will Buick saw the inside and went, I'm definitely going to put Wordsworth. I'm not going to get his own way.
As soon as Buick went to the front, the little sectional factor on the screen, and it was a 14.5 second furlong. Now, I think that bit's uphill and quite markedly so, but that's still a slow furlong.
Every opportunity as Ryan Moore dropped the anchor and said, I'm in the position I want now, I'm going to play it my way.
I think Ryan should have gone harder, up in front. This horse is a proper stayer.
That is definitely
the line.
It's always easy to say a horse they should have gone harder, isn't it? Because
but I can see where...
I'd say he was going
right.
as fast as he could go,
Possibly. We just don't really know with Wordsworth. The one thing about Wordsworth we can say, TC, is, which you said pre-race, this was too sharp for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's just so slow. He will stay constantly. Like these Galileo proper stayers.
I must admit...
He wasn't going away, was he?
I thought that
I
thought he might just be able to get his own way. What I don't like on a front man, we say it time and time again on this, is when they get neck and neck with a horse early. Even if they're a length ahead and they're getting their own rhythm, that's what you want on a horse that keeps going. So look, that's Wordsworth. Third realm, let's pick the bones out of that one. Little keen again early, TC, but every chance.
Yeah, every chance. I thought he ran okay though. He stayed on powerfully down the straight.
He's hung again there.
All right.
The horses in front were running around him, but I thought he ran well.
This is Goodwood, isn't it? Sir Lucan then, let's go to this. Frankie on again.
He was the one that caught my eye turning in.
Cruising, wasn't he?
Out. Yeah, he was going well.
He doesn't pick up for ages, does he?
And he got stuck in behind Bellocchio as well, which didn't help. But
he's a funny Ballydor
showed it
horse.
was no fluke in having that day when he chinned the Wordsworth.
Yeah, Thunder stolen there, Barry. I was going to say exactly that. He could he be the cup horse next season? Very possibly. Wordsworth, I think, will undoubtedly be going up in trip sooner rather than later, and I sort of feel for Wordsworth a bit, don't you? Because he's not doing much wrong. He still looks a bit green and a bit of a unit. What did you make of that race? Let us know out there. Bellocchio didn't really fire, did he, out there? Alias no good. Youth Spirit bounced back.
He ran all right, didn't he?
Ran perfectly well, yeah.
Now, last year when, of course, who won it? He runs later on in the week, doesn't he, last year? Oh, when Mogul finally came good. Yeah. We were saying, bit of a blanket finish. What about the form? Would you be positive about this race, or a little bit like, meh?
Yeah, I don't think there's a star there, do you?
Because
the thing is,
we've seen it in the winner. I don't know.
The ratings on the St Ledger will be determined by people handicapping shorter trips, and I'm at the mercy of Paul Curtis as to what ratings I get out of this race. I don't expect these horses to be anywhere near top in the Ledger.
Another feather in the cap for young Ben Cohen, Barry Orr.
Yeah, he's a very capable jockey, isn't he? Johnny Murtagh was a world-class jockey himself, so to entrust such a young jockey with the job of stable riding first for a stable like Johnny Murtagh is a big tip in itself. And he's delivered every time he's asked him. He hasn't done anything wrong yet. The horse came under pressure. He gathered him up. He got him going. And he's a very, very capable jockey, not to be underestimated just by his age.
Raised a lot of eyebrows, didn't it, when Johnny at the start of the year said this is going to be my number one, and he gave him a great write-up, if you like. This chap is interesting. Just look at his profile. Let's stick with the winner a little bit. There's your SPs on your screen. He's 4 from 4 on turf now. The only time he's been beaten was when he was unfancied behind Salamarak, who we know is quite a talented horse, ran very well at Royal Ascot, etc. And I don't know, this could be... I think probably if there is one there, we're looking at it in the winner. I know it's quite easy to say he's gone won by a couple of lengths, and maybe a couple of excuses for a few horses who haven't had their optimum test. But
yeah, I wouldn't disagree, but at the same time, I would suggest that the F's quite significant.
I'm looking at Celebration. He's had one winner from 4 over 2 miles, and one winner from 11. So there is this weird stamina influence there. I'm trying to look at his.
Well, his
sire was exceeding Excelsior.
Well, that's right. He stayed much better than he should have.
Looking, I don't know much about the dam on Ottoman Empire's side, but again, it doesn't scream stamina to me. So look,
quite a good story with him as well. The horse.
Group 1 horse.
He only cost $7,500 as a yearling. He entered a couple of sales and was withdrawn, including the Breeze Up sales. So interesting that they've gone this route. I don't know why they would have gone to the Breeze Up sales with a horse that's stay a mile.
Exactly. He's not going to breeze that quickly, is he?
No, not at all.
Yeah, Ben Cohen said when he won last time out, still babyish, and he looked it there, didn't he? But what I like about that is if the plan was to lead, And he got a little bit heady sort of after you, didn't he, with Wordsworth? It wasn't like he let him have the lead.
No, absolutely. And that time's the best time so far. You'd expect it because it's a group race, but they've obviously not dawdled. But
slow by just literally over 5 seconds.
The Dam's a half sister to Pleasant Surprise, who was a 1.5 mile horse. So there's stamina on the Dam side, and Exceeding Celebration, was. He did stay better than his pedigree as well. So, yeah, you can see why this horse stays at least 1.5 miles and will probably get a bit further.
All right, that was the Gordon Stakes. We've got 2 more races to come for you. It's Group 1 time we're coming to. It's the fillies' time to shine. It's the Nassau Stakes, the form of which was advertised very well yesterday by Alcohol and Free and Snow Lantern, coming first and third in the Sussex Stakes. Spread eagling, sandwiching Poetic Flair, of course. Sunk, wasn't he, the favourite? Is the favourite going to win this one? Will they bounce back? Who is it now, indeed, Barry? It's Joan of Arc.
Yeah, flip-flopping favourites, Dave. Joan of Arc now against at 305. Was 15-8 in the sportsbook. Adira, who was 15-8, is out to 3.8 now, so 11-4. Lady Bowthorpe, absolutely friendless in the market at 5.4. And then the other 3-year-olds in the field, Sayada, who's been well supported, it has to be said. That was a lot bigger on the exchange. 9.2 now, Sayada. Has been as big as 14 on the exchange for a couple of £100 traded at 14, and Technique is 29. I just think the 3-year-old fillies are going to hold sway here, and I fancy Joan of Arc. I've backed it myself as well. Obviously only beaten ahead by her stable companion and reopposing Empress Josephine in the Irish 1,000 guineas. It wasn't a bad run in itself, but she came on leaps and bounds to land the Prix de Diane in France last time out and did it really impressively, and she's a filly that's definitely improving. They're getting a nice allowance as well off the older fillies. So at 305, we're going to have £50 win on this, please, and happy to be a price taker here at 305. So just a straight £50 win bet on it on the exchange. We don't even want to set our own odds here because I think money could come for this even stronger.
Yeah, I think you're probably right with the weakness around Ordea, of course, who chased home Love in the Prince of Wales Stakes. That was her comeback. She's a Breeders' Cup winner. I'm a bit surprised she's not favourite, but then when we know the firm behind Joan of Arc, and we know what St Mark's specific.
I was asking that earlier. When does their money go down? Because we talked about it, didn't we? The Guineas was a good example this year, I thought, because the money during the week all said Wembley, didn't it? And then, but on the day, the horse that went off shortest and it was really strong on the exchange at the end was Battleground. Yeah. So whose money there is what's the smart money out of those two?
Well, does it come late,
know.
you mean?
I don't know. Is it money early or late?
I always go back to Churchill in the Chesham Stakes. I was there that day, and I walked in, and I was lucky enough to go buy their boxes actually, and it was just it was everywhere. This is the one that they want to be with. You know, O'Brien says by far his best 2-year-old was born out. Didn't he arrive like a 7 next to his name or something? He was a maiden anyway.
I think he was a maiden coming into it.
He was definitely a maiden coming into it, and you just knew that was the one. And
they definitely don't always know though. Like even Snowfall, Santa Barbara, they didn't know.
Well, Snowfall is just a bit of a freak, isn't she?
You can only know because some horses work better than others, don't they? That's the thing.
Exactly.
That's the extent to which they know.
I mean, Richard Hannon before today, I read a piece and he said Dingle, who ran in the first race, works better than Chinder and Snow Lantern, and Dingle's pretty...
Well, that's true. You get some horses that just work better.
Exactly.
And it's better. It's a pretty good clue to have, but anybody that thinks it's foolproof is kidding themselves.
Okay, all right. So Barry, very keen on Joan of Arc. That was one of the second leg of his trixie.
What I would say is I would imagine that Ballydoyle have more than just galloping them together on their side. There'll be some quite funky analytics going on there, I would imagine,
I've taken a different view slightly. I backed the Farborough horse that was second or third to it. I can't remember now.
Philomene.
Yes, Philomene, who in contrast to the ride of Joan of Arc wasn't as optimised, shall we say, wasn't as optimal.
Well, most of these French races, the place you want to be is where Joan of Arc was,
But what I like about Joan of Arc was she kept pulling it out, but I thought she was perfectly placed there. And she was, she's something of an oxo, isn't she? What's her relations? Let's have a little look. Yes, of course.
You're so thrilling.
Lots of milers, you're so thrilling, isn't it? So it's the Galileo influence that you're going for. Glenny,
half-sister at Gleneagles.
Marvellous. Happily. Damn 6 furlongs winner. How was she fared in the Sussex yesterday, of course? So... Of course, we were expecting maybe Snow Lantern to come for this. A lot of people saying they thought that maybe even alcohol-free might have gone for it.
Yeah,
I struggled with that one. Snow Lantern.
Yeah, she's a miler alcohol-free, isn't she? She's a proper miler.
You get the feeling if Snow Lantern, once she learns to settle, then they'll surely go up.
Potentially, yeah, definitely.
I would have thought so. But certainly, the form surrounding Lady Bowthorpe got a big boost, I thought, from the Falmouth. and yesterday in the Sussex as well. And is there... I know that she won first time out beating Queen Power. She's been pretty unlucky the last twice, hasn't she? Kept to the middle of the track at Royal Ascot. That was the one that made burst.
Yeah, that was.
Down the middle.
I feel bad for somebody like Kieran Schumacher, doesn't get many rides in these big races, but I think you could say that the Ascot, he was not the only one that went the wrong place that day, but they all did bar Frankie, basically.
Yeah.
And then obviously he got a bit far back and then met trouble in the Falmouth.
Has won over a mile 1, small field.
I made this point actually today. She has won over a mile 1, yes, but she's run 3 times since over a mile and bettered that every time.
But
so
the run last time in the Falmouth, was she the moral winner of the Falmouth?
I don't think so. I thought Prima Baccio was the unlucky horse behind Snow Lantern.
I would suggest that. I would have that the other way round, TC, but slight difference of opinion there. Watch it back now in your members' replays and let us know what you think about Lady Bowthorpe's unlucky run. She was unlucky though, wasn't she?
She was. She didn't get the ideal run and she had to come wide.
Flew home.
Yeah, especially if you thought she was an each-way snip. And you backed up.
Right, okay.
Certainly should have been in the first 3.
Did you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, after the second to Palace Pier in the Lockage, we thought, right, she's a moral, isn't she, for the Duke of Cambridge? She did a bit too much too soon for that.
The thing was, I'll be watching early furlongs with Lady Bowthorpe. I think she's going to pull like mad.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah, I think she's going to pull.
So an in-running is going to go the spike potentially.
I think so.
And I just thought 4-1, she was the value in the race, Mr. Melrose.
Yeah, I thought. The prices have flipped again from where I was this morning, because this morning Adera, that was 2-1ish, and Ziada was 12. And the bet at that point, definitely Ziada, and that's my selection still in the race. She was seen as the next big thing. She should have won the Cheshire Oaks.
Talking about moral winners, yeah.
Yeah, she should have won that Cheshire Oaks, and then she went off 6-1 for the Oaks as a result. Only about 3 horses shorter than her for the Oaks. Hated something, as most of the field seemed.
Stuck down the middle when everything's on the rail.
Always went wrong. And then at Newcastle last night, she beat Technique, who's here today and is rightfully a rag. Technique is probably a listed, maybe a Group 3 horse at best. But Ziada gave her a good couple of lengths start in a race where they finished really, really quickly and just picked her up like she wasn't there.
Are you surprised we only gave her that handicapper only gave her £1 for that?
The BHA handicapper? Yeah. I'm not, because they finished in a heap.
Right.
And the fillies behind, not many of the 3-year-olds have run against older horses. And these older horses are quite established. The horses there are rated about 100, high 90s. And it gives you a handle on what they've achieved, but they only beat them by 2 3/4 lengths and some more. But they should have, by right, beaten them by about 4 or 5 because of the way that race was run and the way they couldn't extend in the way they should have. And if Ziada should have beaten Technique by further than she did, I think she's a Group 1 filly. I honestly do. My only sort of very slight query is whether her best trip will be 1.5 miles.
Interesting. All right, well, we might find out a bit more about that today. So we often do this, and Barry is with the 3-year-old as well, said he thinks the Classic Generation should come out on this. Keith is with the 3-year-old as well. I'm from one of the old horses. In the last 10 years, 7 have been the Classic Generation, so the 3-year-olds. Even up the score, TC.
Yeah, I'm going to be with Ordira. I have no strong opinion on the race, I have to say. It's not one of the better punting opportunities, I thought, on the card. But Ordira's got the form. She's versatile. Obviously, she won the Prix de l'Opera, finished third in the Prix de l'Opera behind Tarnawa, who's one of the best middle distance horses. She won the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf on firm, so she's versatile regarding firm, heavy. She handles good ground, whatnot. She ran really well at Keeneland.
Great story that, wasn't it? By the way,
yeah,
unbelievable story. Considered what all the restrictions and things like that.
Yeah.
The 2 winners.
I think she should be favourite. I really do think this horse should be favourite because
she's got the best form in the book.
Quite a lot of people saying
she's made her career.
Form, I'm not sure about it.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit of that, but
maybe not quite like that. But
the form is, though. I mean, why is the form bad? The Longchamp, the Duval form is potentially bad because it was a bit of a sprint up the straight. The Keeneland form, it's not always the strongest American turf races. The Love form, because it was a little bit of a muddling race.
So this horse, it wasn't going to suit her though.
Well, no, this is a horse that has made her name winning muddling 10 furlong races. What's this? It's going to be a muddling 10 furlong race.
And she's still improving as a 5-year-old as well.
Yeah, that Love run, even if you don't like it, almost certainly was a career bet.
And you have, I would agree with that. And you had to think if anyone was going to come out of it. We don't really know about the Prince of Wales, do we? Because I'm still of 2 minds whether, and again, we had this chat on the panel yesterday. Charlie Post was making the case of maybe that's as good as Love was. In hindsight, she had a harder race than they would have wanted probably in the Prince of Wales. Can't take Armoury, can we, really? Because it was just a mess for him.
Yeah, it was.
Saturday when he got beaten in the York Stakes. So we don't really quite know yet. O'Dara could still boost the form. Get your selections in then. Where are we? We're 20 past 3. Great to have you along. It's day 3. Glorious Goodwood, myself, Dave Orton, Quizmaster Keith Melrose, betting editor Racing Post, TC Tom Collins, trading away for Barry Orr, who joins me all week. We are getting the trip, Barry. How are you feeling? Needed to take a breath yet? Had a breather?
Yeah, just took a little pull there. I think it'll be interesting to see tactically how this race develops. I don't know what the lads' feelings are, but will Joan of Arc go off in front? Because we know she stays. She raced prominently in the Irish 1,000 guineas when she traded at 10s on and just got nutted on the line by Empress Josephine. So, like, I wonder, would Ryan be as positive as he was with Wordsworth and happy enough, or even more positive and happy enough, and go on and set it here?
I suspect
she's
the likeliest leader.
You're thinking it's going to be muddling, aren't you?
I think it's going to. Yeah, I think Moore's going to bounce her out, but I don't think he's good. There's no incentive for him to go hard. There would have been with Wordsworth. I mean, we talked about that before. But it is hard when you're on the front. You want to go as slow as possible.
Should Empress Josephine be shorter?
I know what you were saying, but it's just it's counterintuitive to go harder if you're in front, surely, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, with this, and you'll do the same with Joan of Arc, and it'll actually suit better, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, she's got more return of foot than Wordsworth does.
It's like a private conversation, like a fly on the wall, which is something that we build when we pitch this. You get a fly on the wall in the Racing Post office. Those two obviously go at each other quite a long time. I mean, it's been quite nice since you've been working remotely, is it? You're like, I haven't got Melrose in my ear. The phone rings. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't hear you, Keith. But all right, so it's going to be a muddling race. You've obviously got strong opinions on this race, which is great. I did throw in there, not that you were listening at all. I said, should Empress Josephine be shorter? Because, of course, as Barry alluded to, there's the Joan of Arc scalp. And as Dan Walsh, the producer in the studio, I think he's obsessed with the breeding of this race. He told me all about Joan of Arc and all the miles and all that sort of thing. All of a sudden, Empress Josephine, Minding, won this race.
No, Dam's Lily Langtree.
Oh, God, what's he done? He's just stitched me up there, has he? Oh, yeah, the Dam of the Dam won this race or something, didn't it? Was it? Or
she's a full sister of mine.
We got there in the end.
Full sister.
All right, fair enough. All right, so she's bred to win the race, is what I'm trying
to say. Yeah, she's very well bred. That Irish Guineas win is the lowest, on RPRs, it's the lowest rating on the Irish Guineas winner this century.
Ooh, so what was it? Was it just a mess?
Well,
Joan of Arc, the moral winner then?
The theory had been...
We've said quite a lot about this, haven't we?
The theory had been for quite a while that these 3-year-old fillies, particularly over a mile, weren't all that, and that theory's getting stretched.
Yeah, okay, all right. So we've got the sister to Minding. Get it right, Dave Orton. That's my Horlicks of the day. All right, okay. Range of opinions then in this race, isn't it? One of us will hopefully be right, and we're hoping that you're right there. Come on, time to get in your selections. Who have we not mentioned then? Just Technique, isn't it?
Technique, yeah.
Since the Blue Riband, is that when she should look like she was going to win Epsom on?
Yeah, she should. She was at second to... She was actually the only one of the 3-year-olds that's run against Colts.
Is that going to stand her in good stead then, do you think?
Well, it's usually how you can tell a good horse. I made the point that part of the reason the 3-year-olds aren't coming out very high in this race relative to the mares is because they haven't tested themselves against colts. And that's a good way to get your rating up because, basically if you're open sex, it's a better standard.
It's been a very good year for 3-year-olds so far, though. We're very thankful for that, aren't we? Again, Posty yesterday. Not just a pretty jump jockey face, I tell you. He was saying we were all a little bit worried about the 2-year-olds coming into this year. Lots was said about it when it pre-Guineas. Were they any good? And yet, the likes of John Gosden are saying, because of the season that they had, maybe my best 3-year-old you might not have seen yet. These backward types. So we were hoping that some would come up to the mantle.
There's potentially some of that. And before the Sussex. I mean, the Sussex the evidence is starting to build now, but my opinion was that the Eclipse was won by St Mark's Basilica, who is plainly the best 3-year-old and is brilliant. And
of the lot,
probably, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if he's not had a chance to do what Adiab's done so far, he's not had a race well enough run, and it's partly because he's
beaten the same horse, isn't he?
Mishriff. Yeah, Mishriff wasn't fit in the Eclipse, though, so he's.
And he was given the perfect ride on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he's a better horse, but they'll
never clever ride from David Egan.
Brilliant.
Club a little bit.
They'll never meet, I wouldn't have thought, unless they both run like a champion stakes, but they won't do that. Anyway, either way, tremendous 3-year-old. ADR is a very good horse, and Poetic Flair is brilliant. The alcohol-free Snow Lantern thing is the bit that's making it suggesting. But again, who was the best 4-year-old in that race? Who was the best older horse in that race?
Well, you have to say Mishriff, wouldn't you?
No, in the Sussex yesterday.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, good question. It's hard to remember.
But and we talked about the Falmouth. But
who was the top older horse?
Tilsit or Century Dream?
You said it with a scrunched up face.
Like he's not. I mean, he's basically he might be a Group 1 horse. We don't know yet.
in France, he very nearly.
Yeah, he did. He did. Well, I fancied him yesterday, but you know, we've not
Lots
got
of people on the show.
We've not got irrefutable evidence that he's a proper Group 1 horse. And, you know, the Falmouth we talked about, Lady Bowthorpe, there was no older horse went off at single figure odds for that race. You know, Lady Bowthorpe was arguably a bit unlucky. We know that she's not, you know, we know that she struggles against the very, very, you know, she's no match for Palace Pier, for instance. And so, yes, the 3-year-olds, we've basically got an instance where 3-year-olds haven't beaten a great crop, or there've been a couple of pretty special 3-year-olds in Adiyar and St Mark's Basilica. I'm not certain yet to go for that line. It's looking more likely all the time, no question.
The more you listen to Keith, the more you're getting a bit worried about Lady Bowthorpe, I have to say. I thought she was the value in the race, or Dyer as well, quite like Joan of Arc as well, quite like Ziada, so it's tricky races for me. Wouldn't be one of my strongest, but the pulling aspect has got me slightly worried now, I've got to be honest.
I think, yeah, I mean, I wrote it in the analysis today, and then that was yesterday before I saw in the show last night with Tom Siegel and Paul Keeley, and I think they both said that. They both had that fear as well.
That was the worry in the sport.
It's rare that the three of us would all agree.
All right, yes, indeed. All right, and we know what happens when that usually plays out. All right, Barry, we've chatted about it. We've picked out the bones. We've said what we expect to happen. What's the market saying as we near the off?
Yeah, 315 Joan of Arc. Adara is 3.854. Lady Bowthorpe 8.6 Zanada. That's coming in for further support. Empress Josephine 10 and 32 Technique. Have we discussed how good a record 3-year-olds have in this? Yeah.
Yes, I said 7 of the last.
7 of the last 9. Yeah.
7 of the last 9. Okay, there you go. So, I mean, it's a lot of weight as well when you're staring on a paper, isn't it? When you've got a French Classic winner and you're looking at.
What's happened? It's really. Did you see my analysis about this? It was exceptional. Even for me, I thought this is a bit nerdy. This.
I saw your analysis about the super sprint. Did you do
I did a super sprint as well.
That was mental, man.
Percentage RB. Well, I got the winner.
It got me going all over the place. Dizzy.
Yeah, it was a bit. You need people. There's different. We don't want to be looking at things the same way we did 20 years ago. We should be better than that now. And the one with this race was that they changed the weight for age scale, so that now you get £1 less 3-year-olds than they would have in the past. And if it had been for that, Winsilly probably wouldn't have won because she won this by a neck. And now, but the other thing they did with this race
there's a name.
Is they moved this race from the Saturday to the Thursday, so it's more likely to fall in July. And if it falls in July, they get £1 extra weight for age because the weight for age scale changes July 31st.
Cheeky, isn't it?
So this race is better placed than any to withstand that change to the weight for age scale.
You've just earned your weight in gold, my friend. I love that. The betting editor. That's to get extra pound because it is, of course, August, isn't it?
Yeah, it changes. It's every 2 weeks now but from the start of July until middle of September or something. They lose a pound every.
On Mr. Melrose.
Every couple of weeks.
So, all right. So is Technique the one that we're expecting to struggle a little bit in this? She can't reverse form, can she?
She's not as good a horse as Ziada. There is no question. Yeah. She might, whether she wins or not, she's not as good a horse as Ziada.
How's Tom Marquand getting on? Has he had a winner yet? Did he have one off air potentially? Let's have a look. It was a quiet week for Tom. Quiet start for Tom. Anyway, Mark Johnson's got his winner on the board as well, hasn't he? Let's have a little look down. Has he had one yet?
No.
No, he hasn't. Still waiting for him as well, the great Tom Marquand. All right, so she's definitely going to go off Fav then, Joan of Arc, Barry, isn't she? You're confident all the way. It suggests they've played, doesn't it?
I don't know about that, but she's certainly going to go off Fav. It's 3.15, 365. Adara, Lady Bowthorpe 5586. Now Zanada to come in for more support again. But yeah, she's going to go off favourite for sure.
Yeah, okay, so they're queuing up. If they're going to back anyone, it's the top 2 in the market. It looks like that's where we're going. We're just waiting for them to go out on the track. What are we, 7 minutes away? Then get your selections in. Let's keep hearing your race courses. What's your marmite? Who's your unlucky race courses? It's York for me, Galway for TC, which is going on. Anything in the hurdle tonight? Can we talk about the hurdle tonight?
I've not looked at it closely enough to give you a proper view on it, but we've got that race. It's a proper champion hurdle trial these days, isn't it? You always get a horse that comes out of it.
And it's so valuable, isn't it? Let's throw this over to Barry. Magic Tricks looks like he's Fav at the minute, isn't it? One of many, surprisingly, for JP McManus.
Yeah, 11-2 favourite from 13-2. Winner Takes It All is in there 13-2. Belfast Panthers being strong at 8-1 now for Peter Fahey. Cape Gentleman, a friend of the show, is an 8-1 chance as well with Seldenage. It's a really, really good race. The Shark Hanlon ever effusive about his horse's chances, but anyone he speaks to, he says Sky Ace can't be out of first 4. Luckily, the Betfair Sportsbook are paying 5 places, so Sky Ace has been out to 16 from 12, even allowing for all the chat that the Shark has been given about. I thought Cape Gentleman could run well. A really, really strong gallop in it, which you're assured in a Galway hurl. I think that'll really, really suit Cape Gentleman. If you remember, we backed them on the show a couple of times last year, Dave.
Indeed, the Dovecut and the likes. Yes, we did indeed. Proper horse, isn't he? One of these typical Emmett Mullins horses. We were laughing about that yesterday. That was a great read, wasn't it? Did you read it at the Tom, Dick and Harry? No. The work riders don't even know what they're called.
Is that so?
Yeah, that's why they're always prices.
That's naughty.
I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. We were sort of saying, unlike the Haggis yard, Andrew Tinkler's currently riding, he gets on the phone straight away. We were saying things like that. But the Tom, Dick and Harry, a lot of people talking about the shunter last night, Barry, to me. I didn't see the race live. I was in transit on the way back, but people saying he was given far too much to do. Still life in that project, isn't there, the shunter?
I wouldn't say he was given far too much to do. Now, he wasn't helped. He got interfered with a couple of times, most notably once over in the far side coming out of the back straight. So I'd put it down to that. But the winner was imperious, wasn't he? He got him settled in front. They were a bit nervous, obviously, that he was setting too strong of fractions out in front and he was going to blow his own brains out. But I thought he got a marvellous ride off Paul Townend and won convincingly at the finish. He's owned, interesting, by the people who sponsored the Grand National.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, yeah. He's one of those horses. Royal Rendezvous, of course, 5-1 favourite. Mullins looks easy, doesn't it? But another one of these jumps handicaps won by a horse that just gets on with it.
Yeah, I mean that's
1-2 for Mullins, we should say.
Yeah, with the front runner over fences, I'll keep banging the drum until everybody believes it.
Bang your drum, my friend.
And these big chases, because of the way you have to run in a chase, you have to slow down between obstacles. That inefficiency of running naturally lends itself to the horses near the front to begin with. I reckon it's baked in. I reckon it's an intrinsic part of chasing.
Yes, and one that we're seeing so often, aren't we, at the moment? Yeah. I'm being asked, actually, after this race, for your best bet tomorrow. We already know what your best bet is.
You can skip me.
Yeah, all right. It's Smart Champion, isn't it, for you in the opener? TC, not yet. Find us one out, and perhaps we'll find one from Barry as well, if you don't mind. Barry, whilst you're sort of typing away and clicking away and doing all your Betfair business, can you find us one for tomorrow that we can talk about after this Group 1?
Yeah, I fancy a couple tomorrow.
Oh, he's straight in there, wasn't he? I have to say, this was one of my quieter days. Yesterday, 4 from 5 yesterday I was.
Really?
I was 0 from on the first day, so it's just about level for me. It was a good day yesterday. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, you get those days, don't you, on these festivals where you just sort of see it a bit bigger than others, and a few people, I gave a few selections to people yesterday, and of course they're straight on you, aren't they?
Why does it change one day to the next?
Don't really know. I think it's just the shape of the races, isn't it? Have you got an opinion on that?
No, I think there isn't one.
It's just the way it is. Yeah. Okay. You were hoping I might help you there.
Yeah, I mean, no, there'll be certain races that suit you and they might all fall on the same day.
Okay, there you go. So was that my day? You're making me scared now. The Wednesday's been and gone. Fear of missing out the FOMO. We've got to talk about the Racing League a little bit as well. We won't do it right now, but we'll do it. What are your thoughts on that? It starts tonight, of course, 6:25, Newcastle. It's going to start with 5 furlong races. Each of the race is going to be a 5 furlong race.
Is that right?
Yeah, our very own Enzo, Tony Ennis doing the calling. We'll get a word from the panel about that, see what you think about it. Lots can be said. Why not? So after this race, a big race selection. Keith is back tomorrow. We already know it's Smart Champion, but Barry and Tom will give you something to get excited about overnight as well. All right, great stuff. They're down at the start, I'm delighted to say. Anything got lathered up, guys, or anything caught your eye, TC, on the way to post that you didn't like?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously you can see Zayada's there wearing the red hood. The red hood that was worn famously by Alcohol Free yesterday, going down to post, which clearly helped her because she was very fizzy beforehand in previous races. She settled nicely. No, they all look very nice.
We were talking about this and we were saying it's so people can see them on the way to post as well, and obviously they help them. It's a bit of a new fad, isn't it?
The red hood to
the red hood.
The red hood, yeah. I have seen more of them recently. I hadn't registered with me, but yes, I have actually.
We've seen more ponies on the way to start.
I think we should see ponies from. Well, you know my opinion on this. I think all horses should be ponied down, but
all horses
in flat races, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
That's a lot of ponies, Tom.
You do it in America. I mean,
that's a great deal of ponies.
Big field handicaps as well. That's going to be maybe.
You just got a bit of a thing about ponies, haven't you? Because let's get this out of the way. And a reminder: you go to Kempton on a Wednesday night early, so you can. I mean, all-weather pony racing.
Pony racing.
Pony racing.
Yeah, you get to the next up and coming jockey.
There's enough racing, man. You need to just take a little bit of time off.
Look,
It's the only time he turns up early to anything, by the way. The producer at Sky, like, we love him, but he literally walks in as the offlines. I know you do, yeah. There's only so many traffic jams you can get caught in, CC. Yeah, okay, all right, great. So look, no traffic jams here. We're hoping for your selection. We haven't had too many going in, have we? The Royal Hump Cup, I'm being told,
for the pony racing.
Yeah, well, it's a ridiculous statement that time. I'm just going to say it. It's absolute mad. You're a dreamer, man.
A big field handicap is going to be difficult, but at the same time, there are so many pros. I mean, a loose horse, if you've got ponies down at the start, an outrider can go catch a loose horse, no delays. That's a massive plus. Yep. Secondly, you don't get horses bolting to post. You don't get riders unseated. There's just loads of...
Who is it that does it here? Bulger, obviously.
Yeah, he said it was New Approach was the one I always... That was what put me off ponies forever.
New Approach is the other one as well, isn't it? Oh, really? What, you thought that was like...
I was, because New Approach took about 20 minutes to get out, because it was on when he won the Champion Stakes, when it was at Newmarket. And he got ponied to the start, and obviously had to go straight all the way down the rolling, straight, couldn't cut across the track.
Put ponies in the boxes to calm horses down the way. Yeah. Put goats in there as well, and things, don't they?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Quite odd, isn't it?
Interesting. I know
the goat will go and he'll be fine.
I know it's not our area of interest here, but I've just seen some of the Whirlpool dividends. Joan of Arc's odds on.
Is that right?
Yeah. 1.7, £1.70.
Yes, of course, that will be going on, very much so, won't it? And perhaps why some of the races have been moved around a little bit. I think there's loads of politics going on. You've got to keep and catch up with it. So a reminder that the last one has indeed gone in. Let's go then. It's Group 1 action here on Racing Post Live. It's the Nassau, muddling field we were expecting. Lady Bowthorpe absolutely pinged out. So Schumacher's going to have to think, where am I going? Don't restrain her too much, because out in front, surprise, surprise, Joan of Arc lighting up.
That's what we sort of suspected would happen, isn't it? We didn't think there was any other front runners in the race, and he was just going to bounce her out. And after Empress Josephine, Frankie broke quicker, and then just thought, no, we're not having this. I know it's actually...
Over your head, that I spent the Joan of Arc lighting up at the start.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's tell you what.
I can't do it at the end now, so I'm going to have to come up with something else.
Very, very subtle, that.
I think this is how Ryan would have hoped at Wordsworth.
Yes, got the easy lead, TC, right?
Yeah, and this time he seems to be going a decent, steady clip.
Well, he's had to...
solid clip.
Zayada in second, settled well.
Now, yeah, she's
Empress Josephine, ding round 2 for them, isn't it?
Lady Bowthorpe has settled better than I thought, yeah. But now's because they're going uphill and Moore's settled it down. So this is the point where you'll see with Lady Bowthorpe. She has taken a bit. She has taken the grip there.
Yeah, Barry, let's come to you then. They're going up the hill. This is where the race changed for Wordsworth.
Yeah, you can't split the two of them at the head of the market before racing, and you can't split them in running Joan of Arc and Adara. But I thought Adara was pulling quite hard at the back. Lady Bowthorpe into 4, 8-6, Dana. So they'll play their hand now in the next furlong, won't they?
Very much so, yes. Jim Crowley moving up, saying, Ryan, you're not going to get too far away, my man. Interest with Josephine, she's full of herself. Lady Bowthorpe settled lovely. Will she be able to do that marvellous burn-up finish? And here comes Adara. Will that early keenness catch her? This is the muddling race we were expecting, guys.
It really has. I mean, Moore steadied it up fairly quickly now. They're all still in with a chance. Technique's only just getting ridden away, but they're 3 out, and Technique's still sort of there. They're all travelling. Zayada's tranking.
Oh, this is Lady Bowthorpe's, isn't it? Come on, the Bowthorpe. She's absolutely cruising. Pull her out. Go on, we got here. Come on, let's have it.
Zayada doesn't stop either. Come on,
Kieran Schumacher. Here comes Odara, the Breeders' Cup winner as well. This is love form on the table. Lady Bowthorpe then goes for it. Come on, William Jarvis's mare. Zayada, she stays well. Joan of Arc, game as you like on the inside. Odara spent then. Go on, the Bowthorpe. Can we do it? Technique desperately trying to run on. Go on, Kieran. Give it the large wild friend. Here we go. The Bowthorpe does it. Recompensation for the Bowthorpe. I love it. You love to see it. William Jarvis gets his big day in the sun. The earpiece is out. Zayada nowhere. Joan of Arc nowhere. TC, take it away. I'm losing it.
Yeah, I mean, she really kicked into final gear there with 100 yards to go. 100 furlongs, that would have been a long race. She was alongside Zayada and Joan of Arc, who I thought battled on really nicely until she kind of flattened out. Zayada ran a much better race.
What a celebration from Kieran Schumacher.
Why do you love celebrations?
This is what we should be seeing. This is what gets the crowd going, gets people into it. If my son sees that, for example, 6-year-old, he absolutely loves it. He goes around going like this, you know what I mean? But there's no passing the post like this. It's just sedate, isn't it? We want to see celebrations. You just want a Group 1 man celebrate.
If you want to do that, you should keep the camera a bit so you can see it after they cross the line. They can celebrate after the line.
Murphy's brought it back on Vogue. I think we see the young guys doing it. Listen, I know I bang on about it, but Kieran Schumacher's done absolutely everything perfectly there. Before we get a word about the Group 1 today from the panel, Barry Orr, how low did Joan of Arc go?
Joan of Arc hit a low of 296. I'm not sure whether that was pre-race. She mightn't have traded shorter than that in running. 202 though for Zayada. Lady Bowthorpe hit a high of 6 in running, would you believe? And Adria hit a low of 2.54. unbelievably, because I thought she pulled her way out.
You called that, Barry, and now we are looking at the Prince of Wales Stakes, aren't we, in the form of it? And did we get a little bit carried away?
She's run terribly.
What, too bad to be true?
Oh, no, that's not real. That's not real.
Boing? Bounce?
It's just horses run badly sometimes, Dave.
Very, very keen, wasn't she?
She was the keenest in the race, and so she's.
Is that a trait of hers, TC, or were you surprised?
It's not really a trait of hers. She did settle nicely in the Prince.
Not like a third realm type thing.
No.
No, she's not mental, but she does pull card quite often. But
was she the one that was badly inconvenienced then? Second time out. Tried to be a bit more patient with her. I know it's a small field in the Prince of Wales Stakes, but she was fresh, obviously, then, wasn't she? And maybe the track.
I mean, she was in probably the worst position in the race, but at the same time, it's no excuse for her to finish right at the back.
She'll have to be going back to Breeders' Cup now, won't she? Not that's a bad thing, TC, of course. I daren't say that with you on the panel. But that you now think, right, come on, okay, let's forget about the domestics.
These American turf races are nowhere near as good. I think we can say that. TC's quite happy to admit that. The American turf races are easy picking for European horses. They don't care about it.
Jump on them.
They don't care about it as much.
There's a reason why the Europeans do so well, and that's really why in the Breeders' Cup it became like a Ryder Cup thing, wasn't it?
We need to send more. We need to send more horses over there for just the Grade 1 turf races.
Well, perhaps the ones that aren't going to Melbourne might fancy a trip over there now. Let's get back to the race then. Ziada, the pick of Keith Melrose. Was there a better traveller bar the winner in the race?
She did travel really well, but look how when they have to kick. Watch the replay. We're coming up to 3 furlongs out now. When they have to kick, Ziada just stays.
Yeah.
Lady Beauthorpe kicks. Yeah. And I think Ziada is 1.5 miles filly. Is she going to go for the Vermeil next?
Ooh, good shout.
Something like that.
Good shout. Winner, you mean?
No, Ziada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go
to
France. Yeah, Roger will go to France, won't he?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
And she's shown herself to be the horse they thought she was in the Oaks there.
Yeah, I think she's 1.5 miles.
Four then.
That's what I think. Yeah, I think she wants 1.4 miles.
Joan of Arc, TC, really game on the inside. We thought she got the best ride in the French Oaks last time at the Prix de Diane. Probably is that as good as she is?
Yeah, I think so. She got the best ride here again today, I think. Ryan was brilliant on her, and she just wasn't good enough to go past the front two. I think with Empress Josephine, Frankie was looking down. She looked to be hanging right as well. Maybe she lost her action.
She was beat miles out. I think she was a miss as well. There's basically 6 in that race. Technique ran as well as she could have, but isn't good enough. 2 were basically a miss, and the rest, the form's picking between the other 3 really.
Kieran Schumach, massive day in the sun for him. Then great day for.
Hey, look, he did really well there. I think he got a couple of things wrong in his previous 2 rides on his horse, but he got it right here.
It's Emma Banks, isn't it? The owner,
yes,
of course.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us a bit about her, TC.
Her first Group 1 winner, I think. I read about today in the paper.
She's the agent to the music stars.
She is.
Yeah.
That's good knowledge from you, Dave. Didn't know you had that in your
locker? I didn't know I had that in my locker. How old do you think I am, TC? It's ridiculous.
Down with the music. No, it was her first Group 1 winner. I think William Jarvis' first Group 1 winner for, I don't know,
long time.
Yeah, 20-odd years, I think.
That will be coming out in the post later on, no doubt. Our wordsmiths there. Peter Thomas is on track for us today, which would be a great read later on, that's for sure. And William Jarvis said, in his piece this morning, we were absolutely gutted. It'll be tears of utter joy.
Grand Lodge in the 1993 Dewhurst was his last Group 1 winner.
Right, no, that horse won a Group 1.
Walden colours.
That won a Group 1 as a 3-year-old, I think.
Oh yeah, St James's Palace 1994. Yeah. There it is.
We've had a little bit of technical help going.
Master and apprentice a bit, isn't it?
I wasn't even born when he won.
Is this the first time you've sat in the middle chair, by the way?
Yes, I said that. Yeah, it is.
How are you feeling it?
It's a bit unusual, actually. I'm used
to off the old trading?
Yeah, I've got to look both ways now. I used to be like Derek Zoolander.
You'll be doing the trading tomorrow. You probably will, won't you? Because Bruce will want to come in and call.
Bruce will want to call.
He's going to want to call.
Well, you're welcome.
Golden Mile, he can have it.
You're welcome to that one, Bruce.
I need to save my voice for the Stewards, of course. We've got the Golden Mile tomorrow, of course. We've got the Stewards Cup on Saturday. All so much to come. But that was the third Group 1 of the week. It was the Nassau Stakes. Who went in with the lady? The Lady Beauthorpe. I enjoyed that one, because it has been a bit of a project. I thought she was unlucky at Royal Ascot. I definitely thought she was unlucky in the Falmouth. That Falmouth is now looking hot form.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good race as well, wasn't it, at the time? Arguably the best fillies and mares race I've seen in a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a lovely, really good finish, wasn't
it? Baccho's still the one to come from that, I guess.
She's the horse that I'm most interested in, definitely. Although it was...
Mother Earth obviously was second one. So Snow Lantern third against the boys yesterday in the Sussex alcohol-free, reversed that form and won it. What do we make of alcohol-free yesterday, guys?
She benefited from a really strong pace. But she might have been the best horse in the race anyway.
Proper foursome.
Oh, yeah.
2-year-old, 3-year-old.
She's a miler.
Will she stay in training?
They can't go to the Jobmont, by the way. If they go to the Jobmont International...
That's madness, isn't it?
That's a terrible decision.
Madness.
A better horse than Chief Singer, only Jeff Smith said.
Yeah, but was I born when Chief Singer used to run?
I'm not sure I was. It was 37 years ago, so yes, indeed. All right, I'm getting a couple of messages through. Where are we going? Oh, right, the big dub, the massive dub. The dub, I was going to try and do it there. I don't know why I'm going with that. Don't do it, Dave.
Is it that? It must be that, mustn't it?
It's that. I got it out there in the end, the big dub. Thanks to Keith Musson for that earlier as well. OK, we've got one more race to go. Let's have some fun, shall we? Until then. OK, Ben Blackmore of the social team asked us, please, for a selection tomorrow. Let's line them up then, guys. Smart champion in the first. Just give us a brief case about this. This is best bet of the week.
Well, I nominated it when there weren't even entries out, and I don't do that normally, but I knew the horse had been laid out for this race all along, and he snuck in, bottom of the weights. He's £6 lower than last year, and then Safi Osborne takes another 5.
How many times does he run in the race?
At least once, and the once is all I need.
At least once.
Because he was third in this last year, beating the length. He came from out the back in a race that wasn't that well run.
Luke Morris on him that day.
Luke Morris might have been on Rochester House that day, I would have thought.
Okay. I remember Luke Morris has ridden him in this race, so he must have been in.
Okay, so but anyway, he saves a lot of his best form for Goodwood. He ran a really quite good race behind East Asia when he was third here in June. That form, we might have that race a little bit high, to be honest, but that was technically a better run than when he was third in this race last year. And, you know, if he's as good as he was last year, he should win. So I backed him at 14s anti-post. I backed him at 18 straight after decks. He's about 11s, 12s now, but I still want. I'd go in again if he took those bets off me. I would go in again at 12s.
Lovely, Keith Melrose. Friday pick for you, seeing the ball big. Tom Collins.
Well, I haven't done the punt yet, so I can't give you a Friday tip, but I'll give you a Saturday tip in the Stewards Cup. Are you not happy about that?
All right, OK. Give us a Saturday tip. Sorry about this, Ben. Give us a Saturday tip.
Well, he was my nap in the RFO column on Monday. It's Miras in the Stewards Cup, drawn 24, which I think.
The Gosden horse.
Johnson horse.
OK. I've got completely the wrong horse. There is one called Miras, isn't there, of Gosden's?
That's Mithras. Yeah.
Oh, come on, that's close.
Miras, yeah. For Mark Johnson, he ran in this race last year as a 3-year-old after just 5 starts. Which
is this a sprinter?
Yes.
Yes.
Blue
and the epaulets, isn't
that's
it?
it.
Yeah.
He was sent off only 11-2 to win this race last year, off a mark of 103. He ran really well, finished 6th of 27 behind Summergand. He led the race over the far side. It was only picked up with 150 yards to go. Drawn better towards the stand side in 24. He's had a couple of poor runs this year after a wind surgery and a gelding operation, but he looks a plot horse to me. Mark Johnson.
Where's he drawn?
100, 24. Perfect draw. Perfect draw.
Oh, TC, confidence, 10-point Tom coming on then. Barry Orr, do you have a Friday pick for us, please, sir?
Yeah, well, I'm most looking forward to seeing that good horse of Shadwell's by the Eid, but the horse I'll be backing, it's my nap tomorrow in the 410, the Queen's Plate, is Mogul. If you forget his last run, he's a dual Grade 1 winner. He's won at the track. He won the Gordon Stakes last year. And he's in a pretty ordinary Group 3, so doesn't carry any penalty either. So for me, Mogul, I think is a knockout bet. He's 5-2 at the moment, maybe a bit of 3-1 around. I'll be filling my boots on that.
There you go, another big confident selection. Shall I weigh in with one?
Go on then.
How is Batash 6-4?
Because it's better horses than he's ever beaten before in this race.
They've never come up against Batash, right, at Goodwood in the King George. This wins. He's in stall 3, he's away from Dragon Symbol. I like that. Swayze is in there as a filly that I've got a bit of time for as well. She wasn't at her best at all at Royal Ascot. I think we'll see.
No.
Swayze.
She's a 5 furlong horse, isn't she?
But if Art Power's 7-1, then Batash should be a shade of odds. He beats him every time he runs against him. Batash will get the 5-timer tomorrow. Don't you worry about that.
That would tie the record, I think, for most wins in a British group race.
Who was the other one?
That thing that Further Flight, he's won the Jockey Club Stakes 5 times.
Mr. Hills as well. Yeah. Barry, the senior.
I was thinking that horse that's got a Nottingham listed race named after him was what I was thinking. What's his name was?
Good race that can be. And Darren Walker comes on and says, Mogul, 72 anti-post, course and distance winner, expect him to win. Going in with Barry as well. There you are there. There are some Friday and a Saturday pick. Always got to be different, isn't he? Always got to be different. Right, OK. Racing League starts tonight, 6:25. Did you even know it was starting?
Yeah, I knew it was starting.
Come on, come on.
No, I mean, it's
I'm trying to stoke your fire. You're not a bear that I can poke like Rodway, but you are a man that gets railed about a few things.
Riled by bad Scottish accents.
That was a fine Scottish accent, I'll have you know.
Very posh. It was like Alan King Scottish, that.
I'm not from Musselburgh, chap. I like some.
Well, I'm not from Musselburgh either, don't you? That does get
Melrose. You're from Melrose. That's where the name's from, isn't it? It's from Melrose.
It's from the town in the borders, yeah. So it's nearer Kelso than Musselburgh, but I'm from the Musselburgh side of Edinburgh, but very much from Edinburgh.
Right.
And
but you, wherever you've come from, it's given you a bit of fire in the belly. And has the Racing League fired you up slightly?
Not particularly. I mean, it's just people that are pleased it's brought money into racing. Well, wouldn't it be better somewhere else though? What I quite like about, what I thought about it is, the whole thing with the racing league is it's meant to be like F1, isn't it? And the whole thing of F1 is how glamorous and professional it all is. And tonight the teams that can't bring their own jockeys in, it's not made. The start during Goodwood is to coincide with school holidays, I think, because they want to get it all in during the school holidays.
Is it not a Sky RTV thing?
I think it is a Sky RTV thing as well. And so much of the sport is just a proxy war between those two, which isn't great.
Yeah.
But there we are, it's a place we're in. And I wish, the thing is, the Racing Post aren't exempt from this, because I think if we were more heavily involved in it, we'd probably be making a bigger deal of it. I think that's exactly true. But everybody's the same. Everybody
on Tuesday said, we just can't, how many pages do you want us to print, So we can't give it the column inches it maybe deserves. And he also said, Graham, on Tuesday, if you want to bring new people into the sport, why is it not next week? Give it its own slot. If it's this new dynamic process, surely it should be more, I don't know, more pro mode? I don't really know. TC, jump in here. What are we saying?
Well, we've heard the negative aspects from industry and culture.
The Sky Man coming in.
I don't like negative.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Listen to it. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Earlier.
You can predict somebody's opinion on it. It's whether
he went very
Sky's
quiet in the production meeting. TC went a little bit pale and a little bit quiet, thinking, the cash cow.
No, I just want to be positive about it, because we see
of course
there's too
you
much
do,
negativity
man.
in racing.
Sunday series is good.
Yeah, true.
Most of that's on RTV, isn't it?
Well, it's Sky Sports Racing. It's Sky Bet, isn't it? So
I'm having a giggle. Look, all Class 3 races, all 50 grand races.
Look, we've got horses that wouldn't come over and run on, a Thursday night all-weather card otherwise. It's better racing. We've got some money in the sport, slightly more interesting, especially with the silks and whatnot. It's different dynamic to a normal race card. But
why is it starting in Newcastle? Was that the fixture that was just available, I guess?
I have no idea, to be honest.
So.
No, nothing against Newcastle whatsoever. Love my Tapita racing up there, but just a bit surprising, isn't it?
You would have maybe thought if they could have picked, they would have picked they'd have picked a proper Grade 1 track, wouldn't they?
The jury's out, which it has to be. We need to get behind it, because any money coming into sport is obviously a good thing. Yes, absolutely put positive hat on. Barry, has this gone under your radar a little bit?
No, not really. I think it's a good initiative. I'm interested to see how it plays out. Obviously, there's an Irish team and Betfair ambassador. Joseph O'Brien is involved in it, and Kevin Blake, another Betfair ambassador, is the manager of that team. Donica and Joseph O'Brien, Team Ireland. So from an Irish point of view, I think it's great that there's that inclusion and there's that kind of rivalry, because we can get behind it, our own team as such. But I think it's good. It brings good prize money into the game, and I think it's something to begin and to build on probably. And who knows where it could go. So I think it's a positive thing for racing. There's factions, and Keith put it beautifully there. There's a proxy war between two rights holders, and they're sticking their chest out, and you have certain factions within racing who are saying it's bad and certain are saying it's good. But I think the Sunday series is great, and I think this has potential to be great as well. So fingers crossed that it's a success and we can have something to build on for next year as well.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We ought to really get behind it. Let us know what you think about it. You've still got time, 20 minutes until the final race here today on RP Live. Senior producer Rob Lee comes on and says, probably starting on the all-weather track, so it's a lot less likely to be called off due to the weather. I guess when you're looking way in advance, that probably is something you've got to factor in, isn't it?
I was going to say you don't get many meetings called off this time of year, but Sandown literally last night was abandoned halfway through.
Oh, that's remarkable. Flash flooding. Localised flooding, does it seem a little bit more prevalent than it? I don't know, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Possibly. It seems to be at Sandown. It's certainly climate change is being felt particularly badly.
Hills always moans about the weather, and he's kind of from Esher, so maybe that's why every time he takes dog for a walk, he comes back drenched. He came in last night, Paul Keeley, just after we, off air, and I stuck around a little bit last night, and Ross Briley's out there getting ready to do his show and all that thing. Keels comes and goes, "Oh, Dave, how you do today?" And we're having a little chat. Anyway, he was putting his coat on as he was doing it and walking out. And he was going out for a cigarette. And it could not have rained any more than when he walked out there. And we've got pods outside, haven't we, on the roof here in South Bank. I've just given away our location, guys. Get ready to run
Compromised, yeah.
Get ready to run after the last, everyone. Fire alarm! Yeah, absolutely. But he went into one of these pods and it was absolutely drenched. So he had to do the whole of his media work last night. He must have shorts on. He did back the winner of the last, however, Magical Wish. So Mick Kills was on great form. And a reminder of what he might have gone for in this race, actually. Kills has had a sort of pretty good week, I think, hasn't he? He can get a bit...
I think Tom's had a good week, hasn't he?
Tom's had a couple going as well. Yeah, okay.
I had Nagano, which was a tremendous shout.
I had Nagano, just to let you know.
Oh, did you? Oh, brilliant, yeah.
Oh, there was a little swipe at Tom from your counterpart, Rodway, on Tuesday.
Was there? What did he say?
He said that he got a horse right. It was a stayer that he wanted. It was Trushan. Was it Trushan?
Trushan, yeah, it would have been, because Tom, because he came on.
Here we go.
He came on to me yesterday, Rodway, and said, "Oh, Tom and Millman have both been having a go at me for this Trushan
That's what it was. You could tell it was the bear was being poked.
Yeah, he didn't like it. And the thing with Trushan is because one of the 3 runs he's got, one of them is a handicap with a finish in a bit of a bunch. One of them's a 7.5 length win in October, and the other one's that win on heavy ground on Tuesday. Now, I'm not going to say we've got any of those runs absolutely exactly right to a pound, but put the 3 together, and he's worth that. He's worth something.
So the mark was right, basically.
To a pound.
He was vindicated.
The idea that
he felt happy after the race, put it that way.
Yeah, the idea that you could be unhappy with a rating suggests it's wrong by more than £1, and I'm confident it's not wrong by more than £1. But I'm not saying it's definitely right.
Tom actually sort of put his head above the parapet, which doesn't do these much these days. Tom, since he's working remotely a lot in Reading and all that sort of thing, he kind of keeps himself to himself a little bit more than he used to. And Rodway was like, actually,
Tom wouldn't have said that if if Trushan wasn't 65 without Stradivarius, though.
Well, maybe not.
If he wasn't getting punted to be ahead. If he'd been 4 to 1 second favourite still, I don't think he'd have said that.
Okay, has Tom got anything else coming up today? We've still got a TV race. I'm trying to find out, basically. So get your selections in for the last. One selection for the... okay, here we go. He's bagged 11 to 1 winner. What was that? Let's have a look down. Ottoman Empire. There you go. Thank you. He's got Magic Tricks tonight. And he's gone Ciel de Neige as well. Got that right. In the 6:15, the big one at Galway. And he's got Adjuvant, yeah.
In
the next. Who also... Great company, Barry. We often say it. That's your fancy in the last.
Yeah, I like him. I'm going to back him to win as well. I thought he got murdered coming out of stalls in Chester and did well to win first time up over 7 furlongs. Straight around 21 in running there. It's not a track that you can ordinarily, on your introduction run, gather yourself up after what happened. And Haley Turner did really well to win on him. I was impressed with that. And then he carried his penalty in Salisbury, and I think that race is working out okay. The second has won since. An opening mark of 85. This is a guessing game, Dave, as you well know, these nurseries this early in the season. But I thought an opening mark of 85 didn't look overly burdensome. And around 7 to 2, which it is in the exchange at the moment, actually 4.5. We're going to have 50 quid win on him. Adjuvant at 4.5, 50 quid win. Straightforward bet here.
Okay, Barry, nice and early. Let's get it in there with about 15 minutes to the race. Barry thinks that this is a horse way ahead of its mark. It is a bit of a guessing game, isn't it? But drawn 1, absolutely ideal over the 7 furlongs with that man more aboard, Keith Melrose.
Yeah, I think he could be a bit of a good thing, to be honest. He's a really good horse potentially. He's obviously, what was quite interesting, he was unbeaten, and usually those horses get hammered by the handicapper, but he's come out top on adjusted RPRs, which means that the RPR assessor's gone even higher. And he won at Salisbury last time. He was only really getting going at the finish, which, to be honest, isn't necessarily for him. It means that he's got a lesser test of stamina now, because Salisbury's a very stiff finish and Goodwood's not so much. But Adjuvant, he's won that next. See Marib's come out since and won a novice by nearly 5 lengths, and he's beaten him handsomely.
So this is obviously the tip.
Yeah, it is my tip. It is my tip in this race.
If you thought it was a good thing, it had to be.
Yeah, I think he could. He's given 85. I wouldn't be amazed if this horse ended up in lower group company towards the end of the year. So in that basis,
Franklin D colours, is it or not?
It's not. I don't think it is Gredley, is it? No, it's not Gredley.
Not the Gredley. Very similar to.
It's very similar. You're right. Just
Very
a hat that's different by the look of things, and a wee bit of trim maybe. I don't know. I mean, I was having a good discussion. He's short. I don't like just going all this favourite wins. It's not my general sort of thing.
He's drawn 1. Look, he can get whatever run Ryan wants, really, can't he?
He probably will try and duck up that.
What are the negatives? Giving weight to some other informed horses.
Yeah, the negative is that these horses are all extremely unexposed and could improve. And I would pick out Rabasta as a particular danger.
Yeah, he's my pick. Out of the way.
He's basically a horse that wants a bit further than he's been running over so far. The time figure at Ascot is extremely good. The top speed is really good. And he was up there all the time. And Tyson, that finished second, came from way back.
This is Rabasta, of course.
Yeah, Rabasta. He's Before that, he'd been really well fancied over short.
I would go Bears go. It's just whether it's an Ascot thing.
He's got form with Second Wind as well at Yarmouth, who's ended up rated about, he's about 90 on RPRs, and he should have beaten him first time out. He missed the break massively and came through and should have looked like he was going to win.
Has won this race as well.
Yeah, it's a sort of race that Balding will target 80. Yeah, I think Robasta that's a sort of danger to Adjuvant, but I do think Adjuvant could be minor group class, and therefore you've got to be putting him up even at 3-1. But it's the danger is the wealth of potential improvers.
Yes.
You wouldn't back any horse at 7-4.
Have you found a potential improver, TC?
Well, I just wanted to oppose a favourite. I thought it was too short, personally. He has been impressive in both runs, but I don't think there should be such a disparity between him and the rest of the field. I quite like Ard Bracken in here at a decent price, 14-1, 12-1.
He's been a big drifter. We'll go to Barry about that in a sec, but he looks like he's gone right out to my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, she opened favourite last night before the money came, and now she's just too big a price. She finished second to Inspiral on her second run. Now, that filly won really well at Sandown. I was there last Thursday.
She looks a sexy one, doesn't she? She's going places.
She quickened up very nicely. I think immediate quotes 16-1 for the 1,000 guineas. She's a very smart
Gosden, Cheveley Park, good thing.
Yeah.
Well, the dad's desperate to make puns about that horse as well. Did you see?
Why?
Because it's, well, they wanted to Inspiral's carpet or something, didn't they? They wanted, everyone's.
Showing his age there, I think, a little bit.
I was 3 when that came out.
Is that right? Yeah. Was that your dad with his trixie that was listening to
No,
us?
it's usually people like Richard Hoyles and all the sort of 45-year-olds that would have been about 20 then.
That's me then. He's just. I'm also 45.
I'd say hell.
I'm in my 45 fifth year. You'd never know it, would you? TC, let's go to the 20-year-old in the party.
25, come on.
So, okay.
26.
Ad Bracken.
Yes.
I immediately looked down as you said this. How many times has Richard Hannon won this race?
Twice in the last 4 years, including in 2017 with Biddleston Brook, which is interesting why he's running a filly in the race.
Yeah.
He's obviously got South Audley in there as well. Ard Bracken, I think her main asset is her fight, her determination.
That's what worries me here, because I looked at her earlier, and I looked at that Newmarket win. It was game, wasn't it? Was the comment, and quite right. Is this is Goodwood a game horse's track?
If she gets
Joan of Arc, etc.
Is there any track that's not?
Yeah, exactly.
You know
This
what
track
I mean?
suits dogs.
What
If you,
What are you talking
Very
about?
disparaging label there. What I mean is, if you're a horse that wants to keep fine, a little bit like
you're
a
saying
Wordsworth.
a galloper rather than a horse with a
Yes,
ton
of
of
course,
foot.
a grinder, right?
Well, yes. Well, obviously it's downhill.
Obviously,
isn't it?
Persian
So-
Punch used to win it all the time, the gamest horse of all.
Yeah, I mean, if she gets in a battle, she's going to be the one that's coming out on top because she really wants to win. She against Calm Skies last time out, she was passed. She led the race. Calm Skies, the Godolphin horse, went past by a length. Ard Bracken fought back and won. The same happened with the same horse behind Inspiral the previous time at Newmarket. Calm Skies went by. She finished third. Ard Bracken fought back and finished second. If there's a battle, I think Ard Bracken's got a great chance, even for minor money. At 14-1, you're looking at each way playing this kind of race.
Cam Skies did. I was a big fan of Cam Skies coming into that race. So and she's 85 is probably high enough to suggest that 14's for the win. Yeah, you might be
Why
right.
is it so weak in the
It could
betting?
well get placed that. Couldn't
Let's
it?
go to
exactly.
Barry. So Ard Bracken, TC's pick, Barry. It's just gone one way in the betting, isn't it? I'm amazed at the price.
Yeah, it looks like it has 2 legs, according to the betting. Was back this short is around the 7 mark, and we've had on the exchange 13.5 for 1,100 quid, 14 for 1,500 quid, 14.5 for 1,800, 15 for 2,300 quid, and it's out to 17 now. They just can't seem to get prices big enough to it for some reason. It's a strange one, but absolutely friendless in the market. But
We've seen it on this day. The more you talk, the more else goes out. Don't let it bother you.
Oh, God.
Drifters win. Horses
He's
win at any
delighted
price.
he's in on Junk Canoe Day.
It's not. I mean, it's not like much of an excuse, is it? And then,
Really. Listen, there haven't been many of them since. Well, I haven't seen him that big since, actually. I think I got asked, have you seen another Junk Canoe since Junk Canoe? So, look, in all seriousness, a reminder of the Junk Canoe thing. I thought this horse would win, and I just couldn't believe the price. It wasn't about price at all. I have seen a few since, and it's quite embarrassing.
you shouldn't make a habit of seeing 50 to 1 shots that you think will just win.
Well, we'll just win the race. You know?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you look down, you look at the price, and you're like, that can't possibly. Young Wolf in the old Racing Post Chase, still running, I think.
Yeah, that was. Oh yeah, you had a good old go at
I
that,
had a good old go at that.
and he never turned up. Did
John
he?
Joe, it was all a perfect plot, and since they're from the stable, that was definitely the race, and they just went off like scolded cats. F1
In the
car.
Racing Post Chase? No.
He couldn't get into a rhythm. And I think it might have just done him for now. But anyway, there have been a couple that haven't coming off. There's a lot of people not happy with Maureen O'Brien today. Is that your £5 bet shop punter?
Well, if you win, you're a hero. If you lose, you're a villain. It's there's a lot of that goes on, especially when
Or
you're
old
popular.
Ryan.
especially when you're pub. I mean, what did he get wrong particularly? I mean, what?
Nothing on Joe
No.
Wordsworth, you thought he might?
I thought it should have gone harder personally.
Maybe Wordsworth.
No, I think
harsh, isn't it?
I think he should have gone harder on Wordsworth. What I'm sort of conceding is that it's hard in his position to do that.
I am in the Barry
true,
camp.
but
It's a minor sin.
You've got to know what your horse's positives are. Like,
Could Wordsworth be the triumph horse in the pack?
He's a child.
Could he be the next
JP colours.
Yeah, I know.
Running in JP.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
I mean, he's better than.
Love to see it, but
He won't. He's got Group 1 credentials, so he won't go that way.
until they run him over that extended staying trip, we can't judge Wordsworth. Can
Serpentine more likely to turn up for JP over the
we? Better chat
the
about
Derby winner.
worst Derby winner of all time?
No,
That'd
be worse
That'd be
Derby winners.
silly.
Benny the Dip maybe. He's a bad
Boston's
Derby winner.
first Derby winner.
Yeah, so what? Because Gosden's still training. You
Was
go,
that
"Oh."
worse than Serpentine? Benny the Dip. Benny the Dip is a name that I grew up with. You know, when I
Yeah,
came
but
to racing.
if you're 11 when he wins a Derby, well, I was 10 actually. I wasn't quite that, but yeah, you'd think, oh yeah, he's a Derby winner, so he can't
Our
be
older
bad.
viewers will either be
Wings of
agreeing or
Eagles?
throwing at the telly.
Wings of Eagles.
He was a bad. He only never really ran again, did he? Run once more.
Too bad. Didn't want to send him out again.
Never really got his chance, did he? Unfortunately.
I've got a
Serpentine-
real bad luck story about Wings of Eagles. I said, give me an outsider for the Derby on the Wednesday, and I said, oh, that Wings of Eagles, but he can't be running in his 20s. He won at 40s. I didn't have a penny on him.
But he had shown us something before, hadn't he? But the freak nature of Serpentine's Derby win, will we ever see anything like that?
Oh, well, that's the thing. It's the freakiest Derby we'll ever see. It's the weirdest Derby we'll ever see. I think the wind contributed. I think I wrote at the time.
A lot of people saying his horses aren't training on Santiago, the likes of that. You could even put Mogul in that.
Aidan O'Brien's
Expecting him to
horses
bounce back tomorrow.
aren't training
But
on.
St Mark's Basilica, Wembley came into it. Quite a few horses that people were labelling and saying they just haven't really gone on from what they showed last year. Quite a few were coming out, and it's hard to disagree. But St Mark's Basilica actually was the best of them, wasn't it? So it's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
You think he's? Let's go back to this. You think he's miles the best? You said.
Yeah, I think he would buy Clear Water, the best 3-year-old.
Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to find out, does it? In him.
We won't fight. I mean, the only circumstances in which he would face a DR, he would definitely beat him because he's not going to run over a mile and a half. A DR might run over a mile 2. And under those circumstances, St Mark's Basilica would smash him, but he would smash him by, it wouldn't be fair on a DR to judge him on that basis. But the only terms they're ever going to meet on will be St Mark's Basilicas.
Okay, there you are. A word. It's great to have Keith back on the panel, isn't it? And we'll be back tomorrow. A reminder, Bruce Millington comes and joins the party. I'll give my voice a little bit of a rest with the calling, that's for sure. But always good to have Bruce and just sees things slightly differently, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he wants to talk. He did the golf version of this recently. Did you see it in the
did you
Open?
see any of that?
I saw like the last hole or something.
We'll get a word with him about that tomorrow, but that must have been a very interesting exercise with Palmer on it.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do more of that.
All right, then put your case up to him and you could zoom into it.
Well, could, but I don't see. 10 years ago, I loved to do that with the golf. I don't play enough golf now.
But you're a golf punter.
I was 10 years ago, yeah. And golf was always a sport as a kid, but I've got 2 under 5s now, so I play twice a year.
There's so much you can look at as well, isn't there?
Well, there's that. Yeah, for punting wise, I mean, it's a great sport for punting. They do seem to see it as a way in. Bookies they lay a lot of extra,
I love it. I know
a lot of
Barry
giveaway
does as well.
place terms, and a lot of fields you
Bit
can
on the
have
golf,
then
TC?
quite quickly.
Occasionally, yeah.
It's a great tournament because if you go pre-race, if you like, and you get one that's in the hunt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Great journey.
I've backed Paul Casey for the Olympics.
How's that
He's
project
4
going?
under. I think he's tied 10th at the moment.
Justin Rose got the gold last time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Rack is
I
great.
enjoyed that.
good-
That was
I
great.
think it might have been my last winning golf bet. Even
Is that
it's a long
right?
time, but yeah, you could just
Him and
tell.
Stenson, wasn't it, going up the last?
You could just tell that Rose was going to be off for his life, couldn't you? You just knew he absolutely loved that idea of winning an Olympic gold.
Yes, he's got that Stuart Pearce about him.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a good sports bet.
Okay.
Ronnie Baker in the 100 metres at the Olympics. His second favourite, I think, or third favourite, around 5-1 behind Trayvon Bromell. Both Americans. Baker smashes him in the Diamond League. Bromell's a really short, fast starter. Used to run for West Virginia, college football player. But Ronnie Baker's better.
What price? What we're looking at?
5-1-ish.
Oh, there you go. Okay, an Olympics pick from.
How many people have you said that to and have said I liked him in porridge?
That's quite a good joke. You're the first.
I'm on the first.
You're disappointed by that.
I'm disappointed by that.
All right, they're going down for the very last race then. Tricky Nursery. I'll tell you what, they've been throwing some curveballs, Barry, these last races to us. We've had fillies, condition stakes, we've had sprints, but you've had a knack of knocking them out.
Yeah, the adjuvants come in for further support. 4-6 into 4-3 now. 6.4 Robasta Aswan 9-2. 7-6 Highland Premier, who runs in the colours of Mark Johnson. Don't see many of them this weather. Well, I don't anyway. 8.4 Mayfair Stroll. And your horse, Tom, 8-25. I don't know. It really stinks to high heaven, this one.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that is a big surprise.
Deary me.
I mean, drifters win, but this is like
When do you start to get a bit alarmed?
Yeah, I think now. But
What about Aswan? Can we have a word for Aswan? James Doyle, Simon Crisford. No, beaten at Epsom last time, and that was when people were probably on him, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, it was in a duel again. I don't like horses that lose.
He was clear of the third, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, but I thought he should have won the race, and he got chinned at a short price. I thought he should have won. Look, he's probably well handicapped off 84. Represents leading connections, James Doyle and the Crisfords, but especially in this race, I want a horse, one, that wants to win, and two, that has won.
I've not been looking that close. How's Caravaggio getting on? How's his progeny getting on first season?
That's a good shout. Let me have a look. Talk amongst yourselves while I do some crunching.
He's got
I'll try and beat TC.
I've got a Gartha's a top one so far, elliptic. We've got he's got a couple. I noticed our dad had made a surprisingly decent start. He's got
surprising.
Well, I suppose it's surprising. He's got
he definitely hit the ground running.
Yeah, he has. Because I was talking about his Windsor Castle the other day when he won that race, and the biggest thing that came out of that race, I said, was that the horse that finished about 11th was a maiden winner at the time, but he reared at the start and he blew his chance at the start. It was Batash. He got gelded 10 days later.
He's got just over 11% strike rate, Caravaggio, so far, but he is in profit if you backed all of his horses, basically £14.
Oh, okay.
Level profit, so that's a bit surprising, isn't it?
I still struggle with P&L.
Bullet sprinter, he's described as on the racing.
Is he a bullet?
A bullet sprinter.
Didn't he win the Commonwealth Cup?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call Commonwealth Cup.
They went too hard in that. Was it Harry Angel went too hard in that?
Yes, it was, yeah. Was Blue Point in there? Was that
Blue Point? Oh, yeah, Commonwealth Cup for the ages again.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, it's traditionally been a really good race. Like one of the. I've already started, just to annoy old people mostly, I've started calling it the fifth classic. It is
Okay, all right, the fifth classic, the Commonwealth Cup, I like that. All right, a reminder of the tips then. Barry, Keith, very keen on the Fav. It's going to go off Fav. Stall 1, Ryan Moore.
Playing up at the top, trying to get him into the stalls. You're trying to get him in early, and he's really been a bit of a monkey.
Not what you want to see then. When does that start to make you a little bit alarmed? These babies, though, they can do it, can't they? I like Rabasta. Just thought he was rock solid. Again, didn't have a great opinion on this. Pretty sure he was going to run his race and hit the line hard. Just whether he's an Ascot horse, but he's in stall 3. Oisin Murphy, that'll do for me. TC, the big drifter.
Yeah, Ard Bracken. I just think the price is miles too big. Obviously, you do take a risk with these drifters. But 22 currently, 21 on the Betfair Exchange. That's a massive price.
Some drifters are riskier than others, aren't they? And a big festival like this, it's one of the times I'd be less worried. It's a runner in a Class 6 at Catrick, I'd be more worried.
It's been good fun today, guys, isn't it? You enjoyed it again?
Oh, it's been tremendous.
Yeah, it's been great fun.
Oh, tremendous. Are you going to avoid a beer with Keeley tonight? Because last time you came in, the two of you left your own devices. A Euro game was on, and it's fair to say we feared for your whereabouts, I think, at one point.
No,
it went on, didn't it? You were...
We outstayed Keeley. Well, he had to go for a train.
Ross Bridie tapped out early, didn't he?
He stopped drinking. He was still there, but he stopped drinking. He knew.
He didn't know whether he was coming. Hair all over the place, probably, wasn't it? Walnut whip hair, someone called him the other day. One of his comments that got to him. Let me tell you, he's in great form. Ross, you'll be able to hear from him later tonight as well. We'll be back on the show in a couple of weeks' time. Ross Bridie, don't worry about that. A reminder then: Bruce Millington comes back tomorrow. Joins myself and Keith and Barry. Then on Saturday, Andrew Mount, the professor, going to be talking about all his stats. Stewards Cup Day, perfect for Andrew. Good to get him back on, and Nat Green comes back on as well. And what fun we will have.
Andrew Mount's great value. I mean, I used to be
up
trends.
Your street, Mounty, I'd imagine.
Absolutely not normally.
Really?
Trends and stuff like that. It's all that mumbo jumbo. But race has got a certain.
It's not just all about trends.
But he does it cleverly. It's easy. You can do it.
Hang on a minute. I've just said, is he up your street? You said absolutely not, and then you come back and said he does it cleverly.
He was a man. I used to be, because in Halifax, you get taught to be really sniffy about trend stuff.
This is at the form of the tea.
But yeah, and he applies it in a way that's always got logic behind it. You wouldn't do a stat that didn't have logic behind it, and he does it really nice. He does it well, and he actually convinced me a little bit about it.
Right, okay. Well, he
brought me round
lots of you about all sorts of things, and his debut on the show a month or two ago now was very solid indeed. We're looking forward to having Andrew.
Yeah, I'd love to know what he thinks of the Stewards Cup. You'll have an angle. You'll have an angle.
Exactly that. We thought if ever there was a day Andrew was going to come back, it's Saturday. So we got you covered here on Racing Post Live. Worry not. All right. Did Adjuvant go in okay, Barry? We didn't see. I'm assuming.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Went in grand. Yeah.
Basically,
4.3.
As soon as we stopped talking about him, he was great.
All right, so happy days, and he's kept his position in the market. Very good luck then for the lucky last. TC, do you want to have a little go at calling this one? Throw that on you?
Absolutely not.
Come on, you can do it, man.
Absolutely not.
Okay, all right, we're off and running. He batted that one away. Listen, it is what it is. I'll tell you what, one's absolutely lost it out of the back. What's that, the Johnson horse, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Johnson.
I can't find its name, but there's another Johnson horse.
White
Oh, that's
Feathers Fall.
Is this the Highland?
Feathers Fall. Wait, Feathers Fall.
Highland Premier, yeah.
Highland Premier horse that do you know what? I backed him at Hamilton 2 ago. I left him alone at Qatar last time and he absolutely bolted up to this strip.
Horse took a bad step in midfield.
Unsurprisingly, a Johnson horse leads then. Rabasta just on the outside. Adjuvant then. Barry,
Right on the rear.
you happy with him at the moment? Is this what you were expecting?
Of course it is.
Yeah, he's in the box seat there. Should get an opening.
And from one, he was always going to go up that inside and he's going to try and break. Once the cutaway comes, you'll break for it immediately.
And I'll tell you what, TC, this drift, I can't work out what it's about at the moment because at the moment, everything you'd expect from a bracken.
Yeah, she's travelling nicely in behind the speed. Rabasta's a bit keen. Blue collar lad took the bad step early in the white with the blue hat.
Aswan is there as well on the inside.
Moore's riding, Moore's at him.
Yeah, he is at. He's going to need a run.
He is a bit of a roller.
Nothing going better than Rabasta. What's this in the checks?
Absolutely tanks.
Favourite
Look at him.
child, Carl Burt. Right, okay, Rabasta. What do we got? Come on then, Oshin. Push him up. It's just a case of whether he's gone a bit too soon.
He is responding,
Looks like the
Adjuvant.
favourite is
He's
struggling a little
responding.
bit.
No, he's responding now.
Ryan, come on, Ryan.
He's responding
Look
now.
at this. We're having it on the outside. We're not sure. We can see it. Come on, Rabasta. What have you got? What's this on the outside? Mayfair
one.
Stroll. This is Charlie Hills, isn't it? Going to sweep them all down the outside. Rabasta's gone. Sweeping right to the inside. What's this in the colours? Bastonia for David Evans. Rohan's trainer. But it will be
Aswan.
Aswan. The horse that couldn't get the job done at Epsom last time. Did he bump into one there? Simon Quisson, one of the target trainers. James Doyle, perhaps that was the key. In front, probably a little bit too soon, guys, wasn't he? Went towards that rail. We'll pick the bones out of a messy finish, Barry Orr.
Yeah, it's hard to see what did anything trade short. Adjuvant at the moment, Adjuvant traded at a low of 106, but I don't know how much that traded for. 102 quid at 2.3 was the lowest. Adjuvant was. Rabasta traded at a low at 2.4. Your winner had a Betfair SP of 9. And traded at a high in running of 5 at 24 quid. But I need to really look at the race again, Dave, to go through all of them. But Adjuvant, very disappointing.
Yeah,
Slightly
flat,
surprised.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a
Maybe
wee
was
bit.
going into the stalls. He looks a bit, maybe not on his game, did he?
Yeah, it might have been. He might have left his race at the start a little. I mean, he got rolling briefly and then ran out of puff a little bit, I thought. And I'm slightly surprised he went shorter than Rabasta. Rabasta looked like he was going to win for about.
He was too much too soon, didn't he? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Blue collar lad.
He fell in the hole.
Blue collar lad finished second at 80-1. As you can see in the white with the blue hat, he takes a real bad step at the halfway point. Just
He's the
turning
one,
in.
was he?
Yeah, just turned in. He lost momentum. Obviously, you don't want a horse stumbling during the race anyway. And he's been beaten, quite a short distance into second. That's a huge run.
I'm looking for where the winner comes. James Doyle, we're watching the overhead, that lovely drone cam, basically, at Goodwood. He's got him in perfectly. That's the key around Goodwood, isn't it? You've got one of those draws. We saw it with alcohol-free, and Oshie Murphy just did it in time yesterday. And he's got a perfect run, basically. Stalking. Luckily, they've got an honest pace, haven't they? And this winner... I don't know. I mean, look, the nursery winners aren't
Has
there
there
to
been-
go with them, really.
has there been
Sales races, maybe, if they're good enough.
Has there been a pace collapse here?
Possibly. Certainly Highfield on the inside he's just very one-paced, I think, and getting back on a smaller track, you'll see the best
Look
out
at
of him again.
obviously Rabasta's gone. The Adjuvant's really
They're
gone
off
at
the
it
bridle, a
from
lot
here.
of them 3
Yeah.
out, aren't they? Which suggests they've gone obviously quick.
Ardbracken was a bit unlucky. She was willing to quicken in between, but she gets stuck in running.
And a horse that needs to just get into that
Exactly,
rhythm.
yeah,
Don't give up on TC's tip there. Then
gets
Adjuvant
stuck
on the inside, just a bit.
She does get
flat,
cut off
wasn't
a bit.
he?
Yeah,
Thought Mayfair Stroll was going to come into it at this point.
needs to switch.
Now, this is where Aswan, right under pressure, obviously a baby that we're talking about, the 2-year-old, he goes Goodwood Camber, typical this, isn't it? We saw it with Angel Blue, didn't we, on the
Bastogne
opening
was.
day.
Oh, there's another one takes a bad.
Audley, yeah.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah. Look, there's
Got an
three.
eye catcher, have we?
Second, third, and
Bad
fourth
step.
have come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Out the back. They've been absolutely right out the back to begin with. That's your
Goodwood
fourth.
Nurseries, is this form we should be following at the 2-year-old nursery level? Are they always hot?
Now that we've described the pace collapse, probably not. You know, not to the same, or certainly not take the form. The thing is, there's strong form, and there's strong form you should take literally.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the former rather than the latter. I don't think you should take it literally because what's come through. Look at this horse getting held up. Those are the colours of that balding horse that he nominated for Royal Ascot last year that won at Newmarket in the first week.
Yeah.
And that finishes quite close up.
Symbolised colours, aren't they?
Oh, what was the horse called? I forget, but it got the rail at Newmarket that first week back.
I can't remember. It's
Wait,
hard
what
to remember
colours?
around the Craven meeting, isn't it?
Aldbourne. So it's this Andrew Aldbourne that's finished. The green colours are the white sleeves.
Right,
Talk
so
among
look out for
yourselves.
that. We've
Hillwood
had
Racing.
we've
Hillwood
had an
Racing.
eye catcher basically. So these 410s, they're a bit tricky out there. We didn't manage to hit the net there. I hope you found Aswan and kept the faith of you with him at Epsom. Keeping the faith. 2 more days, Barry. We're getting to the business end now. It's been great stuff again today. Thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, thanks, lads. It's been great. Good luck to everyone, and see you tomorrow, Keith.
Enjoy Galway tonight, Barry. And Keith, quiet night tonight then. Avoid Keely like the plague.
Well, yeah, he tends to go in about 6 o'clock into the studio, and that's maybe when I'll make my escape. But I don't know what I'll do.
Sidestep nicely. TC, what does the rest of the week hold? Great work today, my man.
Thank you. Yeah, we've got the podcast tomorrow, stateside Saturday, Sunday. So lots of US study coming up. Hopefully, a few winners.
Key time over there, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, what's the big meeting on just now again?
Saratoga.
Is it still Saratoga? Is it?
Saratoga. Yeah, we got the
best meeting, isn't it, TC?
by far the best meeting.
By
best
far.
track, best
The
horses.
Breeders' Cup.
Okay, no. Aside from the
Nearly caught you out there.
aside from the
It's about 6 weeks long, this though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It goes on and
Eight
on and
weeks.
on and
Yeah,
on.
8 weeks.
Exactly. A little bit like what we're doing this week. Let's hope you've enjoyed the action today. From myself, Dave Orton. Join us tomorrow. We'll be back. Don't worry, this time at 1:30.